That's me and Ben. Guys, welcome. I'm still learning. Welcome to another week of whatever this is. Tuesday night football on Wednesday. I'm joined with the illustrious Ben Robertson. All right, how cold is it in Colorado right
It's like
now?
19. It's like 19 degrees outside, but
Oh
we
my
had like
god.
this ice storm come through. It somehow it managed to rain instead of snow, and then with the temperatures, obviously it all froze. So there's a big layer of ice on everything outside right now. I've watched a bunch of people slip on the sidewalk. It took me like a half hour to scrape all the ice off my car today just to go to the grocery store, and so it's been fun.
Man, that is wild. It got in the 40s here in Orlando, Florida the other night, and you would have thought the world was ending. So, I did live in Fresno for a while where it is 120 some days in the summer and then like in the 20s and 30s. It's got to be one of the biggest temperature swings, in the United States. I mean, I guess New York gets 100 and then freezing, but I don't know. I do not envy you, my friend.
Yeah, it's cold.
Hopefully you're staying warm. Has there been any snow days yet? The kids get any days off of
They,
school?
the ice was so bad today they shut the university down just
Wow,
because
they
it was
shut the
it was like it was
university
that it
down.
was that dangerous to be on the roads and even just walk down the sidewalk. Initially, so I still get emails from the university. They said we're still open, but we're going to stop the bus service because it's too
What?
dangerous. So now we're going
Oh,
to
so
make
now you
all of
gotta
you walk.
walk to school? Yeah, that's smart. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that makes
yeah.
a lot of
And then a couple
sense.
hours later, they sent out the email saying, "All right, we're going to cancel classes from here on out."
Yeah. For those of you that are new, I just got somebody in the chat mentioned that Brett Coleman sent him here. My name is Chris Vassar, aka Coach Vass. I'm joined by Ben Robertson, longtime Colorado State quality control coach, or why would you just say quality control? What's the proper phrasing for
I,
that?
quality, I don't know, quality
Because I know
control.
the big thing that separates quality control guys from GAs is QCs can't coach on the field. Well, legally, they can't coach on the field.
Right.
So
And QCs don't have to go to school either, though.
that's also true, and they get paid a shitload more money.
Yes.
Uh, Fun story before we get started, because I know how the natives get restless if we don't get right to it. Uh, when I won't say what school, so I don't want to get anybody in trouble. But well, it's been a while. Fuck it, it's whatever. I was how do I say this so I don't give away where it was? Visiting at know about something a school where one of the GAs, I forget, this is back about 15 years ago where the rules were more strict. Um, he hadn't been accepted to school, or that there was some sort of waiver because they wanted him to coach in the spring, or something, or he was an extra guy, something along those lines. So what he would do is he would carry around the Gatorade at practice, the little six the water bottles, and he'd put it down. And then when compliance would start to, because the athletic department was right across the street, when somebody would spot compliance, they had a code word, and he'd just pick up the water, and he would just carry around the water. So it looked like he was a water boy, but he was like a assistant O line coach.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
No, the code word is pretty popular everywhere.
Yeah. Omar coming. That should have been the code.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. Let's get to the game. I'll get your first impressions, and then I'll mention mine, and then we'll get right into the film.
Yeah. This was a fun game to watch. I thought the LA Rams defensive line dominated in both the run and the pass game. I thought they mixed up their coverage structure, single high, split safety. I thought they had some good pressures. Although, for some reason, when I was watching the game on TV, I remember more pressures than there were
And
as I
more
went back and
exotic. I'm like, oh, that what was that? And it's just like literally five dudes rushing.
yeah, yeah. And so, a lot of just like undersaw, is just a basic 5-man pressure. A lot of that. Um, but I thought the Rams are pretty good on defense. When you win up front, which you've got to do at every level of football to be good, and they certainly win up front. I mean, Aaron Donald is really good. Um, you know,
Heard that guy. I heard that guy's got a future.
yeah. I mean, they're so good up front, and they mixed up the coverages nicely, and they had some well timed pressures. And I mean, obviously, it was not a good day for the Arizona Cardinals offense. They really struggled. Uh, Kyler played just really out of control at times. It looked like he just was not functioning very good. Stupid stuff like they couldn't execute. They tried that little double pass on third down, and the first pass was forwards. Just little stuff like that. They didn't play very good, and it showed because when you don't play good in the NFL, you get whooped, and that's kind of what happened. So, this was a lot. This is a fun tape to watch.
Yeah, and I don't like saying this about professional athletes because like these guys are way tougher than I am. Uh, but Kyler looked scared. He looked, I don't know, hesitant.
Yeah,
There was an Y cross or a double dig. He had a bender
he had
or
a wide
something
open.
coming across early in the game, and it was open and on time on his progression. It was wide ass open. And he like was, and then he just checked it down. And then later on, after he threw that crazy ass interception, I don't even know if you want to call it that. Whatever that, I don't even know if you would consider that throwing an interception. I don't know what that is classified. I mean, technically, of course, that's what it's called, but I mean, he looked like he had better accuracy if he just shot the ball out of his ass. But I mean, and then he just looked spooked. And I hate to say that because too many people speak too flippantly about the toughness of these guys. And I know what they go through, and I just, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's,
and the Cardinals came into the game. They didn't finish strong to the season where they lose 4 of their last 5 coming in.
I think it was worse
So
than that. I think it was, I want
it
to
might
say
have
it
been
was like
5 out of
5
their
out of
last
6 or
6.
6 out of 7. But yeah, something along those lines. Yes. It was not
Yeah,
good.
they just kind of looked low on confidence.
Well, and that's a
Um,
Cliff. To interrupt you real quick, that's a Kingsbury trademark from what I've seen, or at least patent pending. I've seen the data about it, and he starts hot, and I don't know if he does a really good job in the. It could be a million things. Like he does a really good job in the off season of coming up with new crap and surprises everybody, and then they figure it out. You never
yeah,
know why that is. I don't know enough about them to speak intelligently on that, but
yeah,
it's
and
it's
that's
a
one of those
trend.
things. Yeah, and that's one of those things you always kind of dig into at the end of the year. You play that last game, you take a week or 2 off, and then you kind of get a fresh set of eyes almost coming back to watch yourself and rewatch the games, watch the cut ups, watch the situations, kind of self scout yourself. And you start to spot things, like, oh man, look at teams started playing us a lot like this, and all the copycat stuff that happens. And so yeah, it's hard to say without going back to watch the whole season. It could be, like just like you said, they self scout and come up with a bunch of tendency breakers and new stuff, and it catches everybody off guard. And then, once they catch up, you don't have a plan B, and who knows? Certainly DeAndre Hopkins being out doesn't help. One of the best receivers in the league, and I know they kind of struggled with injuries, and Kyler was out for a while, but yeah, they did not look like a playoff ready team going into the
No,
game.
and somebody in the chat, Max Toscano, shout out to the goat. He said early in the season, it's like Kyler and Hopkins go make an insane play, and if Hopkins is less than 100%, it's like the whole thing falls apart. And I know I don't even want to. I wouldn't even want to go down this road because this is not my level or my area of expertise, rather. But I know that Hopkins. There's that crazy ass trade that Bill O'Brien made, but it always seems like Hopkins is hurt or something when critical moments go. Maybe I'm just unfairly, and this could be unfair, like recency bias. I am fully acknowledging that I don't know what I'm fully talking about in this area, but I know when everybody made the trade, or he made the trade, everybody was like, "What are you doing?" Especially for a running back, past his prime. But sometimes I've seen with him, like if he's not 100%, like Max is saying. Now again, I watch I don't know how many Cardinal games a year, but so I am talking completely out of my ass. I am fully acknowledging that, but I noticed. I mean, the thing with Kingsbury, I'll just say this: I never got the Kingsbury thing. I mean, let's be honest. He's a very good looking person. He's young. He's Hollywood, and I think that's why he got the opportunity, because it was just off football. I mean, and I think my view of him is very skewed because I watched them mostly against TCU, and Patterson owned his ass. That's why when Mahomes, because again, I only watched Mahomes versus TCU. I remember when Mahomes got drafted, when the Chiefs traded up, didn't they, to get him? I thought they
It might
traded
have.
up
I
in the
don't remember.
draft. Um, I texted one of the guys at TCU and was like, "Are you guys effing kidding me?" I was like laughing about it. They weren't laughing. I was, because he just got his ass owned by Patterson. I mean, there was the 83-27, which I know he's not the defensive coordinator, but still, 83-27 in the year in the 2000s, and we're not talking about. I mean, if Connecticut would have lost 83-27 this past year, we would have been like, whoa. But and I don't think the 83-27 games was Mahomes, but Kingsbury just never impressed me. But here's what I saw schematically, and then we'll get into the film. We'll get into the tape. A lot of FIB, which we say that all the time there is no FIB in the NFL, but there still is a short side, and guys try to avoid it. A lot of FIB, a lot of 10 personnel looks, some actual 10 personnel, which you don't see a whole lot of in the NFL. I mean, 10 personnel is very rare in the NFL. They ran, I think, at least a couple snaps, maybe one. I don't know. Some really bad play designs, some really good play designs. From the Rams, you will see a clinic on the new hot thing to do. It's been going on for a couple years, but the new hot thing to do is to play quarters too high and then getting the 3 buzz off of that. And I'll go into some of or 3-week buzz. And if you watch a team like Wisconsin in the college game, because I know I got some college guys here, some high school guys here, they're experts at this. You can't even tell. Like, there's been clips where I've talked to Jim Leonard, the defensive coordinator at Wisconsin. I'm like, is this quarters or 3-week? And I kind of can tell a little bit of the difference, but because of how they do it, but they try to make it look exactly the same. And to be honest with you, 3-week buzz versus four verts, 3x1, looks very similar. Plays out very, very similar. There's very tiny differences that it takes you a while to spot. So you're not spotting those in a 2-second clock if you're a quarterback. Especially because pre-snap, they are so very militant about that. But you'll see Vic Fangio / Brandon Staley's thumbprints all over this game. And that's what is impressive to me as a guy like Raheem Morris, who grew up in the Tampa 2 family. You compare him to a guy like Lovie Smith, who, like, can't quit you. You know, Tampa 2, I can't quit you. And is just, like, getting his shit pushed in. And you see Raheem get brought in, and instead of having this big ego that's like, I'm Raheem Morris, I've been an NFL coordinator for however long, I'm doing what I want to do. He took Staley's defense. And had you showed me this game and I didn't know, and you said this was a 2020 game besides obvious personnel changes like John Johnson, it's weak safety, and Ramsey, I think Ramsey changed his number, I'd be like, oh, okay. I wouldn't have known. It's very,
Yeah,
very,
you think
very,
it was a
very.
Brandon Staley? You wouldn't have known it was a different coordinator. They look very similar.
Yeah. So props to him on that because I know that's as a coach it's very hard to do. But I know that was the prerequisite to the job. I know that he's what he signed up for. But at the end of the day, when shit gets hot, you usually fall back to what you do. Now, one point I want to make before we get to the film, one thing I found very interesting in this game is, and I don't want to speak too deeply on this because I don't want Schumann showing up at my house, but um, I noticed a lot of similarities in what the Rams did and what Georgia did versus Bama. Um, in the sense that a lot of 5-man pressure, a lot of 5 and a spy, 4 and a spy. I have not
I
seen
think
the
sometimes.
Rams. I will like there was a couple snaps of cover one that like true 5-man pressure, and they were built. That guy coming down, he wasn't looking for the running back. So they would fight. What they
No.
were doing is, and I noticed this late. I thought it was something else. They were, and again we'll get to this, but they were going 5-0 loaded front. They're 4-down team on 3rd down, so they're going to load the front. Um, and they would still drop the safety down, and I think he was actually a spy. We used to have something in that we stole from Georgia called one mouse, because you get one rat where the guy comes down and rats the hole. We called it one mouse, where you're going to come down and you're going to spy. Anyway, let's get to the film. Hopefully
There's
this
one of those
was,
clips pretty early in it too.
yeah,
One of the first clips we're going to watch, you'll see it number whoever the safety is, number 20. I think it's Eric Weddle. It might be.
yes, Weddle's 20. And so
Yeah.
what you're going to be in charge of, Ben, since I on my screen, it's what I need from you this week. I'm giving you a job besides
Okay.
look handsome and commentate. I need you to pull a roster for me because I didn't even.
Yeah.
I was like I did the whole coach thing, like 64, 62. I know those aren't the real numbers, but anyway. All right. So first snap of the game. Let's go to the film. This is there's nothing earth shattering here. This is basically a tone setter. In typical Kingsbury style, they come out the first play. They're in 12 personnel. Obviously 1st down. The Rams getting a cover one. All right, yeah, you got a roster. Did you get? I don't even think I finished my thought. Do you have a roster handy?
Yeah, I
I
got
think I
one pulled
started
up.
to ask you something, and then the ADD went kicked in. You got to get you on the roster. All right, so they come out and they run counter, a very college quote unquote formation. So you've got pro with Z in a crack position or nasty position, whatever you want to call. You got the owl that most people call a sniffer. I mean, they're stack backs. You're thinking power or counter. They actually pulled a tackle in the H back. First play, the Rams are in under. Here's something else I noticed. Rams played a lot of under versus 11 and 10 looks. It was wild. And then they overplayed the shit out of some 11 personnel. So I don't know this to be true. And I'll show you the play when we get to it, but my gut's telling me that they had a tell or something because
Yeah.
there was a one play when they were in 11 personnel and the Rams ran like under one, like a call that you would not call, or like not under one. It was something like I think it was Fire Zone 3, or no, but it was a true locked on under front. Like the Sam was
Uh,
still attached and there was one back on the box, and I was like,
that, you know what? The other thing
that's
that
not
pops up.
something you do unless you know they're running the football, and they didn't run the football a lot, so it was like I don't know if he has some sort of there was a like a huge teller. I could again just be total luck.
Yeah.
I could be just making this shit up, but
That
anyway.
might also be just a mistake from the box on what the personnel grouping was. That'll happen like once or twice a game.
Yeah, but they ran the ball like it was they choked their ass out. I mean, you're exactly right. That's what could have happened, but it was the stars aligned like
Yeah. I think I
oh
know what play you're talking about because I remember watching it like why because I think they're even in base personnel versus 11 playing under something.
yeah.
And I was like, why are they in base personnel versus 11 here?
So I turned the game on a little late and just like a few plays in, and I was like, why didn't they run the ball at all? And then I watched the first play and I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, this is why. I think the Rams have a little tell here on what's happening. because 91 and 94, 91's the nose playing the shade, and 94 is playing like a loose 5. But they both step strong side,
Yeah,
like they know
they
which
have
run
what
is
they call,
coming.
some people call them the under half it, where they go like this.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Maybe
They're
it was a
halving it.
Z crack or
Yeah,
the
or
tight
maybe
Z.
just this 12 personnel formation. As soon as that sniffer comes into the backfield, they know they're getting power or counter,
Because he wing
and
busts
either
right here.
play, like yeah, exactly.
Here's what I love about
You'd
the
much rather,
NFL.
like, if you knew you were going to get power or counter.
Here's what I love about the NFL. 32 is listed as a safety, right?
Yeah.
This is the most NFL shit I've ever seen. They're an under one with 2 safeties and 1
I'm sorry.
backer.
He's listed as an inside backer.
Oh, he is? Okay. He looked a little light
He's
in the
listed as
ass.
a safe. Yeah, he's listed as an inside linebacker.
Okay, never mind. I was like,
Yeah, he does look a little bit.
well, plus he's wearing 32, which I know doesn't matter anymore, but still, I kind of think, oh, well, maybe. But okay, never mind then. There goes my point. But yeah, they wing bust that. So wing bust is in some, this guy should be outside. He get a tight split like this. It's probably some sort of giveaway. They're gonna run pin pull or something. I mean, this guy gives that it's counter away. If he had been over here, maybe they'd run some pin pull. But you can see what I mean by wing bust is you're getting inside the wing and you're just trying to create havoc, and then it becomes cracker place for the corner. Receiver don't really block anybody.
It clears up quickly, though.
Yep. Okay. We got a little creeper on second down under, playing quarters behind it. The Mike's gonna hit the weak A gap. This blew my mind. Raheem Morris obviously didn't read my article with Stephen Ruiz in the USA Today from a year and a half ago. If you drop Von Miller a lot, you're an asshole. Now, they dominated, but I saw a lot of this with this guy walked out dropping into the flats, and I was just like, what is happening?
Yep. Don't know. I mean, you've said it a bunch of times. That's okay to do once or twice, especially as a changeup, but you don't do that too much.
No, I couldn't. I was like, what is going on here? So we had 12 personnel again. It was
Great
second
play
and
by
8.
54 here.
Say it again.
Great play by 54 here, getting off the block and making the tackle.
This is what I'm talking about, though. They're on an 11, and I know it's base personnel. Them again, they must have had some sort of tell, but they're in an under front with a 4-eye. I think they call that tough. And their weak rush jack, whatever, is walked out. It was just an interesting. And again, I think part of it is that I know they were light on safeties. I mean, how they brought a guy out of retirement, a guy who's amazing, but still brought him out of retirement. So maybe that was also the other thing. Like, all right, we'd rather play our second linebacker than our 9th safety.
Yeah, maybe just trying to limit his snaps. He hadn't played in 2 years.
Third play of the game. So you get 3rd and 6. We've got nickel on the field. They're in a load front, meaning you've got 3 linemen to one side. You run your one of your pass rushers to the other side, and then your backer walks up mugged in here. This is how even front teams will get to 5-0 looks. Now, we talked about this before, but the theory of the load front is you can either put your best guy away from the 3 or to the 3, and then it just dick around. And the Rams last year, and this is what makes this package special this year. Last year, they had good players. Obviously, Donald, but they didn't have a crazy threat on the other side. So you see a lot of times they put Donald away from it. But now they got the Agent 40, Von Miller, out there. That's one name I did learn. And, I mean, what do you do? 68
Yeah,
like, oh, shit. But I saw a lot of this, a lot of twisting, late, guys ending up late over the middle, covering all the linemen up. And that is really, to my brain, to keep his escape lanes from being, or limiting his escape lanes.
Yeah, I think sometimes in general people get a little nervous to pressure mobile quarterbacks, but with this 5 man rush, you really can fill all the lanes, and
Hmm.
you still have to have rush discipline. You can't run past the quarterback and create vertical seams,
Hmm.
but I think there's something to these 5 man rushes versus mobile quarterbacks.
Yep.
The other thing I think, just in general, the philosophy of bringing a 5 man pressure, like there's nothing exotic about this 5 man rush. I
Not
mean,
at all.
there's a twist for sure on both sides. I think it looks like just one side.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, when you're rushing 5 guys, you're creating 5 1-on-1s. And between Von Miller, Aaron Donald, 94 is an underrated rusher, I think. I mean, Leonard Floyd is a good rusher. Between all of that, somebody's got to win a 1-on-1 somewhere up there.
Yeah.
And so I think sometimes these 5 man pressures are just about making sure you're creating as many 1-on-1s as possible. And they can't double team Aaron Donald. They can't double team Von Miller. Like you've got to single block a lot of people. And
Yeah.
I think there's something to that in these 5 man pressures. Here's also the clip, Vass, of Weddle coming down real hard. This is fire zone coverage, weak rotation, and so technically his coverage is the back here, and normally you would not expect him to come flying down in there, especially when he sees this guy step up in protection. But he's down in there hard on 3rd and 6,
Hmm.
like like playing your mouse technique. He really looks like he knows once this running back is blocking, I'm just going to sit here and spy the quarterback. I'm not going to look to help in coverage. I'm on Kyler Murray.
You think this was incomplete, Ben?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
no. That's one of the things. It's one of the things that I noticed too was how aggressive he was. And again, your first peek in the third play of FIB. Again, I know I'm doing air quotes FIB, but and I love this. I love the NFL. God, you got Rondale Moore, who's 5'7". He's like the football equivalent of a Chihuahua. Let me chip Leonard Floyd. Now he gets just enough of them, but
Yeah, he did that a couple times in the game. I don't know if Rondell's the right guy to do that with. He's a little he's a little dude, but yeah, you know if it works, go with it, I guess.
all right. So we got the penny package. Okay, talked about this a lot over the year last year. So penny is and they'll do it mostly out of 3-4. So last year was Staley. I think they mix it up. Last year was Staley. What they were doing is they were doing it out of a 3-3-5 personnel. So my one complaint with the defense last year was that when they were in 2-4-5, they were running like Aranda's peso stuff, where those outside backers were edge guys over fronts, really under fronts, but it was still 4 down. Because to me, an under front is 5-man front. That's just how I think. I don't
Okay.
think that means the 3 technique is to the other side. I just don't. That's not how I process. Doesn't mean that's right or wrong. Um, but the Rams doing this year out of 3-4 personnel. So let me backtrack. So last year when they run penny, which is the bear too high stuff, they would do it out of 3-3-5 personnel, and then when they would go base, they were 3-4. So this year looks like they're doing out of both. Actually, it looked like it at some points all 3, but I think it's just mainly 3-4 and 3-3-5 personnel. So what penny is, it's bear out of too high. So what they'll do is, so versus 10 personnel look, they'll walk. They don't need to walk this guy out, but they're doing it for disguise. They don't need to walk Floyd out. That is Floyd. Can you confirm that, please?
Yeah, that is Floyd.
Okay. So they'll walk both outside backers off, but you're giving it away because this guy's walked out. This is where it's kind of goofy. Really, you should walk up on the line, threaten them to have to fan to you, and then drop. But again, who's going to question Raheem Morris? But you're not fooling anybody in this look because he's walked out over the guy rushing. So here's what's interesting about the penny stuff. That's different than most 3-4 structures. In the history of the 3-4 defense, usually you brought your Sam and you played 3 deep coverage, or you brought your rush or your jack and you played weak rotation coverage, either 3 weak or that's when you would get into 2 high. You'd bounce this guy out, whatever. What Staley and them did to change the math and kind of just change those time honored pictures is a lot of the times when they rush weak, they are true weak rotation, and when they rush strong, they stay in too high. And that's because when they're in their true penny stuff, so this isn't the penny package, it looks like it. This would be the nickel, and that's what would give it some symmetry. Is this is a nickel, he's outside, you got a backer walked, you would keep this guy intact and then rush him, right? So, or sometimes they keep the 5 on the line and this guy would go here, the nickel would go here, and there'd be nobody in the box, depending on the structure. So what they're going to do is this is called Penny Sam 8. This is directly from the Rams playbook. Okay? They're going to rush the Sam and they're going to play half, quarter. Okay? So you're going to see here the QB draw. You can see the difference. And some people say, how do you tell the difference? The corner is flat. And even when they're not flat and you get compressed splits, they'll sail it, but they're slower. This corner's off. And he is taking this guy man-to-man. And then this guy's flat-footed and he is backing up faster. Nothing earth-shattering here, but I wanted to, because people ask me about the penny stuff a lot. The other thing you could tell is which side they're coming to is this guy's in a 3 and this guy's in almost a 4. So you're giving away what you're doing, that's fine, but just why one little gripe. The penny rules are usually 2-man surface, you're a 3, 3-man surface, you're a 4-eye. And I know they're doing this at a base, so I think the rules are a little different. I think they're doing it either 2 or away from the back. But This is my complaint with this. Nobody's surprised that you're activating this guy. I mean, It's screaming out.
Yeah, 51 over there is what is the dead giveaway that what's happening.
Yeah, because last year when they were in penny and they would get 10 looks out of nickel penny or out of their penny personnel, the 5 guys were always walked up. Always.
Yeah.
This is nothing earth-shattering. It's why stick to the boundary. I don't say the boundary, but to where the running back's going versus quarters. So one little tip that we do, and this is a Gary Patterson thing, they call stick money and spot inverted or scatter whatever, spot whatever, inverted money. So they'll call this is stick, right? And then what they'll do, they call that money, and then inverted money because this is the stick, the 7 route is the go, and the swing is the swing. So you get guys ending up in the same spots. So that's why.
Still building the triangle.
What's that?
Still building the triangle.
Still building the triangle, absolutely. So nothing earth-shattering here. Just playing straight 4. Now, guys,
trying to disguise that weak buzz, though.
What's that?
It looks like the safety up top's maybe even trying to disguise weak buzz a little bit. He's a little tight. He's inside the backer. He's trying.
Yeah, and I think because this is a tight end too, I think he may be playing it a little closer.
Yeah, he doesn't have a speed problem.
Now, got my quarters friends that are on here, my coaches. This scares me. Okay, this guy right here scares me. You got to get inside a little bit because with this guy going this way, he has to match. There's a giant hole right there. So be ready to take 2 back inside and squeeze it. Just a good little, nothing earth-shattering, nothing crazy. The receiver actually wins inside. Incomplete pass, though. And then up front, you get a little, what I call Tex-Ex. I forget what they call it. I think it's me-you.
Yeah. This is a ball I felt like Kyler needed to complete. I mean, he's going through his progressions here, but he never gets his feet set. It doesn't look like, it's kind of hard to tell, but I feel like he never gets his feet set, and he just throws a bad ball here. I think this thing ends up in the dirt.
I don't know why he doesn't rip it right here.
Yeah, that's open. Put it on him right now. Put it on his body.
Yeah. And it's tough because if you don't get that, or you got to throw the swing right now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really tough. All right, so we got another. So now this is the next 3rd down. So second 3rd down in a row. You're going to get a loaded front. You're gonna get 3 buzz fire zones. So the Rams, little terminology lesson. Okay. So we've talked a lot about Fangio. Fangio calls it 3 and 9. So strong side rotation is 3, weak side rotation is 9. Okay. Staley calls it 3 and 5, and I believe Morris has kept that. Doesn't really matter. But so you're gonna get 3 buzz fire zone. And again, it's 3rd and 11, so the buzz is not really a buzz, right? It's not like he's flying down here to insert. You're playing it top down. He's going to overdrop. So usually when you're playing cover 3, the strong hook defender is going to overdrop 3 to declare his release inside. But because he's coming from depth, he's just going to kind of play it right here. But a lot of this is predicated on this cat right here. A lot of quarterbacks like to read the weak safety. And it just, I mean, they're shuffling out because of their routes and because of probably the compressed X. They know that there's not going to be a threat from that side to run a post because of this guy's split. So I think again, this is I'm guessing. I'm just throwing that out there because he sits and plays it almost like quarters. I thought this was quarters at first until I realized, no, that's not quarters because now he's got to get on his horse a little bit because 2 gets free right now. But you get just a 5-man fire zone. And what it is, this is just funny to me. They lined up with 4 down and they just had the weak side backer just walk up off the edge. I think that's Vaughn, and just brought him. It was just like there was no cute like what they're doing here, real quick. What they're doing here is they're getting in this look so they fan hard and then he can come inside. Is really what they're trying to do.
Yeah, and forcing the guard to block Aaron Donald 1-on-1.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at that. That's just like that's a straight ass whooping there.
Yeah.
Whoop. He beats 2 here. This is awesome. He beats the guard with the hands and then he just bulls the back.
Yeah.
That's big time. Yeah, this is a little scary here by the post player. I don't know if I don't know why he jumps that over route. The strong hook player, the weak hook player is in great shape to take it.
Well, and to add to that, okay, this is Zac Ertz.
Yep.
This is somebody who's really fast. Isn't that more?
Yeah,
it looks like you would think, hey man, we're good on the three up is 3 stuff.
Right. Yep. Tough for the corner too. He's playing 2-1.
Yeah.
And I know it's after the fact, and he's got to scramble, but this dig here by the Z comes wide open too, right there.
I mean, I'm honestly surprised they're not playing more of a skinny kind of look. I think there's some sort of bust here. If you're going to play fire zone to kind of flood the coverage, he gets out of there. He's dropping down with no carry. He's got a carry, but you better get your ass out of there. Maybe they were thinking, my only thought is with the cut split, they thought maybe there was going to be some sort of exchange or something where they were going to bring him across, and so he was waiting to pick up this route right here. I don't know, but
yeah,
he's running wide ass open.
Let's
watch the rush one more time.
This is what a pass rush will do. There will be guys. Oh, that's Rondale at the X number 4 there. So, but this is what a good rush will do. They get all the lanes clogged. They force him to flush. He can't see guys open down the field, and he throws up a Hail Mary ball. Luckily, that was incomplete.
Here's Penny. Here's just a straight up saw dog. Saw is double edge pressure, meaning a guy off each edge. And then the rotation is based on the receivers. So if it's 3-by-1, they'll rotate strong. I
think you've got to rotate the passing strength.
Yeah, they're going to rotate the passing strength. I'm thinking of something else. Thank you. It's just Nothing crazy here, but I wanted to show this so you can see the C gap, the A to C fit by the backer.
Yeah, 51 Reader. He's got excellent fundamentals. He
Mm-hmm.
plays really well. I like the way he moves. Looks like he's been coached up quite well. I really like watching him.
I'm actually surprised they didn't play a true under in this because this is 12 personnel um, that they played tight. So they're bringing Miller down. You got under with a 4-eye. Again, I believe they call that tough. So he's going to be A to C with Miller. Actually, no. I'm sorry. Miller's off the edge. So he's playing A. He's stacking here to play the C gap. So if the ball goes this way, he's going to stack and play there, and then he's going to work back. Now, here's the interesting thing about Sawdog, is with the this is what I find interesting with this call. You get a 2 linebacker box. Usually you get, and I know the corner's there, but not typically something you love versus formation, only because, for me, I could be wrong with how other people view things, but because this guy's outside the core, you have to drop in here, and there's a lot of, if they can break through here in the cutbacks, it makes me a little nervous. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe I'm being a puss. You're just used to lever fitting this.
Yep.
And you've only got 2 now with a corner who ain't gonna be there. All right, so here's a sack, 2nd and 8. We got 12 personnel. So I don't know this is what I didn't understand from Kingsbury. I know you need to block them, but they have these safeties that nobody's ever heard of and that they were worried about. I mean, again, I know Eric Weddle's a phenomenal player. And I'm starting to believe that McVay's a star fucker, but whatever. The issue is, wouldn't you want to think want to get their DBs on the field? I don't know.
You'd think so.
I'd want to get.
And the other thing is, like, I've watched a couple of Rams games, and they play enough split safety, especially enough quarters. But like, you've got some real speedsters in Rondale. At some point, you feel like you got to take shots on the safeties. Now, I wrote this in one of the play's comments. I think we passed it, but one of the points I wanted to make, in fact, it was on that second play, the little creeper where they inserted the mic and played quarters behind it. There's like a big difference between the way quarters is played in college football and the way that it's played in the NFL. Like, if you watch these safeties in quarters, like if you watch quarters in college, these safeties are like 10 to 12 yards off. They're scooching in the slot, right? They're not backpedaling, like they're usually you're getting a max run fit, like a lot of teams play quarters to get 9 guys in the fit. But in the NFL, they're playing quarters, and basically nobody in the secondary is a run fit player first. Yeah. Everybody's playing pass. And so, like, look at this, like this safety up here at the top, he's pedaling out pretty quick. Mm-hmm. Like, he's aware of his issue, that he's one-on-one with this guy, and he's not going to get beat deep.
Yeah, and another snap of
like, FIB. As you watch the NFL stuff, like the NFL's thought process on quarters is very different from the thought process for quarters in college football. Mm-hmm. Also, I thought there's a little confusion here. It ends up being quarter half. But they're running a spear route here. This is a clear and a deep over here by the Z, but this was really good here by the corner. He's not getting any work, and often I see cover 2 corners not getting near enough depth or width when they don't have a threat, and like especially against play action. It's play action, so they can throw the ball down the field. This was really good awareness and recognition here by the corner. To keep getting his depth, get big vision. He's got no one to match in the flat, but he's still got to get big vision. He sees the crosser, and it basically is able to put himself in a position to take it away. So this was really good here by the corner. If Kyler throws this ball right now in the middle of the field, he can complete this right in the middle of the field.
Yep, and but if not, he takes an extra hitch. Throw it to this guy. You got to get the ball out. I mean, they're
Yeah,
really
yeah,
protecting with
give,
8. The only reason, the only reason
yeah,
that this tight end releases out to the flat is because Floyd doesn't go. If Floyd goes, then
yeah.
he's gonna. So it's
On a
8-man
blitz, they'll
protection
block him.
with a chip with like a delayed release, like almost like a running back out to the flat as your release valve. You don't want to. You got to bang that in there now, or you got to turn and you got to throw this ball out here right
Yep,
now. And you get a sack. I mean, that's got to be
yep.
as an offensive coordinator. You're putting in an 8-man play action shot, and your quarterback gets sacked, or an 8-man protection shot. You're going nuts.
Yep.
I mean
Yeah,
that.
whoever's up in the box watching this stuff is having a conniption fit, seeing how that should have been a completion for 15 yards and a first down all day. That should have been like routes on air,
All right,
and
this is
he gets sacked
what
on
are
a
we
four
grading
man
him right
rush
here?
versus 8-man.
What are we grading him right here?
You know what? Like
Oh.
you're talking to a guy who's got absolutely no moves at all, so that's like a solid 8 or 9 out of 10
Yeah,
for me.
I like it's. You know what I like about it? It's subtle. It's understated. It's. I'm happy, but we have more work to do, and we're not done yet. Kind of a vibe. But I like, give it. I mean, listen, it's hard
Yeah,
getting sacks in the National Football League. Get a little shimmy, get right back to the huddle. I kind of like that. Kind of like that style.
you know
Okay, here
you
is
know what else
here
it
is a
is to me? Like if I'm
disaster.
that offensive lineman, I'm annoyed. It's
Yeah,
annoying.
yeah. Throw the ball, dude. I mean, I know that's so reductionist, but like, come on, man. Like, you got to get that shit out. All right, we got a little trickeration here. Was this before the Rams ran their trick play, or after? Because Odell must have
I
been like,
think so.
shit. I got to give
Before.
McVay credit here for still calling this play. If it was before, of being like, damn, we were gonna run the same play, and they turn around and run it. I mean, it's not the same. It's a throwback screen, not the downfield variation. But yeah, this is
Yeah, and like to me, this is kind of like a good example of just how much the Cardinals kind of struggled coming into the playoffs. I mean, this is you can't do this on a trick play. This is third down, I believe. But this is so silly. The quarterback's got to throw it behind. He can't throw it in front of him,
yeah.
and they get a penalty on what could have been a good play to maybe get them going, get a little momentum going in the game.
That's not a play you run on third down either. That's a 1st and 10 play. That's a 1st and 10 after a first down play. Which I know you got to get a first down to run a play after a first down, but
You got to get a first down for that first.
also as an aside, let me go back here. Listen, nerds, I know that passing is more efficient than running and all that shit. I understand that. Okay. But time of possession still matters. This will be the 9th snap from the Cardinals offense in the first quarter. That's it. 9. So don't tell me, yes, scoring really fast is great. But also sitting on the ball, it's hard to get an explosive offense going if they don't have the ball in their hands. So we know we talked about that last week too when we were watching the Rams offense. Part of the problem is the Niners were holding the ball for 10 minutes, right? I don't know. And we saw the same fire zone cover 3. All right, so we got Penny Sam. We got our first 3 buzz week, so they hit him with the quarter half early on. Hit him with the quarters early on. Now they're going to go what they call 5 grab, which is, and this is what makes this package so deadly, is you're going to get him buzzing out and him inserting in here. If you read Brandon Staley's installs, if you talk to his guys, if you talk to his players, and I'm guessing because Raheem kept the defense, it's the same. Same with Fangio. Big asterisk, like bold point for them is we want to play our split safety defense, or I'm sorry, we want to play our one high defense like split safety defense. That's what they want it to be. They want it to look, because at the last second, it looks like quarters right off the bat.
This is the exact same look they gave earlier when they did play quarters. It looked just like this pre-snap.
And now, where this screws up is if we're playing quarters. Let's talk about how it fits in quarters, okay? So you got spot, snag, whatever you want to call it. We called it inverted money. This right here, okay? In quarters, the corner would take the corner route. The backer would expand. He'd get an in call from this guy right here, okay? And he would take the flat. He would match this, and they would double the corner route, right? Now, a lot of times, guys will read this guy right here because you got quick game coming behind it or whatever. And here's where you get tucked into a problem. He's outside leverage. Okay, so if he expands and they run the play over here and he flies out to this direction, air raid 101, you snap it right behind him, right?
Yep.
So now Kyler is reading my man right here. And he expands this way. So he's thinking, oh, I got it. This is going to come wide ass open. Right? Oops.
Boom. Love it.
And he's looking to hit that backside slant. He goes to throw it and sees my man. But now, could he have got it in there? So this is, now I know he's got people in his face, but this is where I felt like he was, and again, I'm being nitpicky against an NFL quarterback, which something I could never do in a million years. But I feel like he should just turn. I think he's got to process faster. He's going out. I'm looking backside. I got to get that ball out. Process, boom. He sees it, open it up, get it out right now. Now I know he's got somebody's face, so let's watch the end zone of this. But that's what screws the quarterback up, is he's reading 51. He's reading that front. Now I don't know why he's looking over there. Let's look at I want to see the routes on this side. I was so locked in with the. I mean, to me, this is what I don't understand is this is maybe because he saw too high, he's thinking, hey, they're going to take this away, so I'm going to look over here first. But usually in this play, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're reading this over here to the backside.
Yeah.
So you read this area. Because you're looking for man to hit the corner route, right? It ain't going to be there.
Nope.
You see the corner off. This route's dead. First of all, you know this play's coming because 2 and 1 are close. 2's on the ball. So something's up, okay?
Yeah.
Back is present. Corner's off. That's dead right now. So I'm going to read this defender. I'm looking here, either here or here. They both expand out. You got to nail that slant in there right now.
Yep. Let me float this theory by you. So we watched the play earlier where the Rams gave the exact same pre-snap look and then played quarters off of it. He might be thinking, hey, they just gave me this look. I'm about to get quarters. So I'm not even going to read the snag side of this. I'm going to throw this little lookie here to the field. But the problem is 51 takes the lookie away when he opens that direction as the hook curl player.
Yeah.
And then as he resets and tries to get back to the other side, 20 flashes right here. Now, I think the receiver does a good job of sitting this route down and not running himself into 20. That's Weddle right there. He sees it and does a good job of settling in the zone, not running himself into coverage. I think this might be an example of Kyler just not playing with the confidence he needs to play with to just bang it in there. Put it on his body and take the 6-yard completion.
Question. Why are they fanning so? I know this is Von Miller. And I know, it's Floyd, right? Now, who's this end? No, that's not Floyd.
That's Vaughn. 40 is Vaughn and 54 is Floyd. No,
this guy right here.
I think.
So this is what's fascinating to me is they got Floyd and Vaughn together. This is where pass protection. This is where Huddle froze up on me. It's still playing. Okay, come on, Huddle. Don't do this to me now. Here's what's interesting to me. If this was a normal human and this was a normal human, this is a pretty easy call. Okay?
Yeah.
With him walked out, you'd set inside, and squeeze this. Vaughn's not rushing. Vaughn's not rushing at all. And they fan so hard out that now 91
but he gets him to fan it.
Beat the center. I mean, I don't know. That's where I was just like, it just the whole thing. They look spooked. The whole thing. They look. Their pass setting to air. Like Von Miller's great, but he is not going to hit it on the run from that far out. And me have to fan hard out like that. And that's what they want. You notice in the first couple third downs, they were lining real wide. I'm guessing because the Cardinals were setting really wide on them, they were trying to come back inside. 3rd and 17. All right, so now we're into the no, we're already into that third quarter or second quarter. All right, so we get a loaded front. We got formation into the boundary. We got quarter, half, or half, quarter. No, I'm sorry. So it's quarter, half, but to the field. If you call them the field the strength, it'd be half, quarter. This is what I don't understand. Okay, and this is why I'm not an NFL coordinator. Okay, and I get it's a bigger body. Zac Ertz is a bigger body. He's still got a lot of juice left in the tank. I get that, or gas left in the tank. I think I crushed. I confused my analogies or whatever. But you have a tight end who I know you're going to send over the middle, so maybe you want a big body, but it's 3rd and 16. And you have mini me out here at number 3. And you're going to have him chip. And I get it. If you get him the ball in space, he can make some happen. So there's something to that. But he's going to sit here and hit the end and then just kind of sit out here and chill. And they're going to let their big-ass tight end run. And again, I get it because you want a bigger body to get the ball to. But don't you want to get your fast dude running fast across the field? I don't know. Maybe I'm just a caveman.
Yeah.
They're running Y-cross. It's painfully slow. They do this a lot. Well, they'll start to break and they'll start to release inside and then break back out, or they'll break back across. They keep trying. It's almost like they're trying to high-low this guy, but he keeps getting depth, and then this corner keeps squeezing.
Yeah.
So they're trying to get this over route, which they're not a one high team. I don't get this plan of another snap of quote unquote FIB, which again is not very normal for the NFL. If you don't mind doing the Bills defense or Bucks defense, I was saving them during the year because I figured they were going to be really good and we were going to get them in the playoffs. But definitely. I also promised real quick, Ben, because I want you to weigh in on this. At the end of the year, I might do like a best of. So any teams that we missed, do like what's their best performance of the year, because sometimes there was one week where I was like scrounging for somebody to do, and then there was another week where it was like 4 teams had just like excellent performances. So like I want to do the Bills, the Bucks. I mean, the Bills are the best defense in the NFL, right? I mean, they finished number 1 on defense with no Pro Bowlers. How crazy is that?
That's pretty tough to do.
Anyway, I'm sorry I cut you off. What were you going to say, my friend?
It's pretty obvious the Rams have been really coached up really well on this game plan. The secondary was really locked in on how to handle these deep overs, deep crosses, the Y cross. It's clearly a very well-coached unit. They had a really good plan. They knew how they were going to deal with this Cardinals thing. And when we opened the show, we were trying to figure out, or at least trying to guess, why the Cardinals are struggling late in the year. And maybe this is just it. Now that I sit here and watch this game for the 3rd time, it really seems like the Rams have a really good bead on this offense and how to defend it in some of their base calls, just quarter, half, quarters, and the 3-week buzz stuff. They really have a lot of answers, and they know how to play these route combinations. Maybe it is an example. Yeah, that's a really good point you're making by circling this guy. And I think this was a note that I had in my notes. At least on one of these, is there? They've got is you've seen the installs? I haven't seen them yet. I'm trying to get my hands on them still. But do they still use field calls in the NFL? Because this guy's aligned to nobody.
No, but they'll make a stay call. So this was, I could tell you this was a special game because you don't see this in the NFL ever.
Yeah.
I guarantee you this was a game plan deal where they went FIB, and again, I'm doing air quotes because the hashes are 9 3/4 yards apart. from tip to tip. I bet you they knew they were going FIB, and they said, just stay to the field, sink in here. You're the hook player. You play the over. Because that's what they want, right? They want you to send everybody. This is just something you don't see in the pros. You don't see FIB, and when you do, you definitely see nickel travel, especially the trips. If this was 2x2, totally understand. But to have it be 3x1, that was what was interesting to me. They pushed the backer out. They pushed the backer out. They have the nickel being like that. This is rare to see in the NFL.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine it was some kind of field call, but like you said, 2x2, like where the receiver goes to the boundary and the tight end goes to the field.
You could see it. Oh, okay, yeah, sure. Yeah. Especially with a tight end like that they use as a big receiver. But 3x1, I was stunned.
Yeah,
I was like, "What?"
It's like a red call.
For those of you who don't know, red call is when Bama's playing an 11 personnel team, and they put their tight end in 11 personnel team that gets in 10 looks that normally puts their tight end into the boundary, and they put him into the field and put the fast dude in the boundary. All right, so they're backed up. We got base personnel. The Cardinals are in Y wing, and they're going to run duo. It's just undercover one. You can see the fast flow linebacker hit it real fast. Just watch it from the end zone. He hits this real fast and hard, which pulls off the double. Everything bounces out.
Yeah, the back's reading that Mike linebacker. He comes scorching downhill. The back bounces the ball. This is kind of what the play is. Again, the Rams D-line here is moving to the triple wing set. Like there's some kind of they know based on game plan what they're about to get here. Yep, they're halving it. There it is right there. Boom, build a wall. The play's kind of designed to get all the way out to the corner, but it doesn't get all the way that far and make a good play.
Too many bodies.
A lot of bodies.
Okay, this whole series is an absolute disaster. All right, so we got Penny, Sam, but we got inverted halves. So what they're going to do is they're going to bring this here from this side. They're going to bail this corner. They're going to play this corner to the half. You got 3 backs, sit him in the flat.
I thought this was a pretty cool call here because...
Oh, I'm sorry. I did it the other way. I apologize. So they're going to play this here. I apologize. So it's here. I knew it was inverted halves. And you're going to go back over this way.
Yeah, it's nickel right, down left. So they're showing like pre-aligned single high. And then they roll to this 2 deep coverage. I thought this was a really clever call here by Coach Morris. You're expecting maybe another run here, try to get off the goal line, get away from the tight punt situation. And then so you kind of give them that single high look, like they can take a shot to the outside, and then you roll to cover 2. Mm-hmm. I thought this was a really, really clever call here by Coach Morris.
Now I'm gonna give Kyler a little bit of shit. Now I know Ramsey's up top. Okay, but this is what I don't understand. He's reading that middle safety. That safety is playing the half to the boundary. And he still I get you're trying to throw a hole shot, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, okay. I get, all right, I'll give him that one. I was going to say, dude, I know that's Ramsey up top, but if I don't understand why they don't convert versus middle of the field. Versus middle of the field close, you want to keep this. Terrible drawing. Middle of the field close, you want to, oh, my God. Just run straight. There, good. Got it. But with him going this way into the boundary, I'm surprised that he didn't skinny this up. And Kyler didn't turn, but I think he sees the whole shot.
Well, I think it's a double move. It's a little out and up that actually gets Ramsey to jump.
Oh, yeah, you're right. On both sides, too. But the press corners there is what has to happen. Okay, so this is my advocate. I always talk about getting at the line and pressing to clear up reads, right? Let's talk about that. I'm a huge
fan of that, just by the way.
What's that?
I'm a big fan of that, by the way.
You have to go now. You can't fuck around. We're up here, right? This guy, he's off. He can screw with you. Yep. Close your cushion, hit that outside, boom. Down here, watch how fast he has to just be like, all right, abandon ship, go. It just cleans everything up.
Yep. It clears the read up for the corner, for the safety. You have a much better understanding of what route concepts you're going to get based on the release of one. I'm a big fan of
That's
press and cover
actually
two corners.
that's actually a good throw. That was a good decision.
It was. The guy should have caught it. I mean, it's you got to put the ball on the money to throw the whole shot and cover two, but he felt like he had it. He had it. Guy's got to catch the ball.
you
That's
know,
AJ Green too, isn't it?
I believe so.
Yeah, 18.
These guys look
Yeah.
so tough. I'm sure they've got the best bro culture in the country. And they whine every mother effing play. It's always something. Biggest bunch of babies. I'm talking about uh, coaches as a whole. They're all big and tough, and they got their mediums on, and they're all yoked up, and then they're like, "It was holding. Stop grabbing him. Where's the flag?" Like kindergarten. All right. Here's the. I just put disaster play in the notes. FIB. Well, no, it's not FIB. They're in the middle of the field. All right, so you're going to get whip fire zone, but you're actually going to get the actual fire zone. So whip fire zone is kind of misnamed. They call it a fire zone, but it's a bonus fire zone, meaning you're bringing four, you're dropping the end, playing fire zone coverage with a bonus hook player. This is straight up fire zone. Okay, again, the whole theme of the show is not the theme of the show. The theme of the game was we're bringing five. Okay, I checked the protection. I think they're flipping the blitz. They're communicating a shitload to keep it. They're buzzing strong. So one of the things that's interesting about this and how they played is usually in whip is here I'm going to drop, so I'm going to rotate weak. They actually go the other way. So the problem with this is, and I think they know they're keyed in on this, which is kind of interesting to me as a non-Kingsbury follower. I was expecting more. And I get it, the Rams are freakish up front, but I was expecting more five-man get him out faster. Because normally, if you were to play an air raid team, this would not be a winning business model. To bring this guy and have this guy who's in a 40, 50 alignment to come cover this guy, especially with a crack split like this. But they know that they're so conscious in pass blocking that it's not that big of a worry. Like, I would never do this against an air raid team, ever. I mean, you agree with me on that? I don't give a shit if they have if it's 4x1. Fuck that. I'm rotating weak.
Yeah.
But they're watching way more film and studying the shit way more than I am.
Yeah, and that's
so
a huge key.
I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. I had this labeled wrong. There is another clip of actual whip fire zone. It's the one that I said, oh, we're going to study this. So take what I just said and hold that for later because it actually happened. So I confused the two plays. So they actually do drop this out and they still rotate strong. You'll see, though, in a little bit where they actually bring it, and then they'll twist it. Now, here's what's interesting to me is this twist is tale as old as time, right? Where you go like this. Georgia does this a lot. But they do it. They loop Donald weak. I think he's like half spy, half stunt. And they're having their nose from the strong side, the weak side contained strong. That's what was weird to me. Okay, we have a little bit of a bust. So we have it's post wheel flat. So if it is whip fire zone, if this is indeed whip fire zone, with the bonus, he's supposed to take 3 on the out. This guy is supposed to work with the wheel because that wheel's open.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And then he takes 3 out to the flat. That's the whole thing. And this is actually really smart. They're chipping a lot to where the receiver is, so bring the pressure away. So this is a game where I would bring the pressure away from the receivers, which they do. Because if you're going to chip him and if it's having any effect, screw it. Chip all you want. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And I'll just bring the pressure from the other side, right? Like, go ahead. Like, you're chipping a guy that's dropping. You're helping me into my pass drop. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
I think this is like one of the big picture ways you got to think about when you game plan is like an allocation of resources problem. So as you watch this, you see, like, we've seen a bunch of plays already where there's number 3 receivers kind of in here tight in this little muddle alignment, and he's working to help chip this end. So when a team's doing that a whole bunch, then like big picture wise, how do we combat that? Well, let me drop the guy he's chipping and let me blitz from the other
Yeah.
side, right? And
It's
so
almost like a fire zone, like you're a tackle that's setting to nothing, and then they're
yeah,
bringing pressure from the other. It's exactly what it is. Now,
yeah, it's
here's
an
what's
allocation of
interesting, though.
resources problem.
Here's what's interesting about what the Rams do, or what the Cardinals do. I will say there's one benefit to having this guy deal with this, okay? And the benefit is this is 11 personnel, but if it was 10 personnel, or let's say this, if it was 11 and this was Ertz, you could play quarters, and we've done this before quite a few times, where versus 3-by-1, if this guy is not very fast, or, and I know that, believe me, I'm not minimizing Ertz's speed, but versus a Rondale Moore, I don't think there's any argument. But what you could do is, imagine they're in quarters. The overhang, which would be this guy, would just take the backer vertical by himself. What that enables you to do in quarters is you're really playing quarters over 1 and 2, and now this guy can double the backside or do whatever, but he's not responsible for 3 vertical. But with having more here, even though he's chipping, you can't, that's not an option, because if he just decides to burn it fast, you don't want that matchup. So that does keep you honest. But this is where not having DeAndre Hopkins hurts them from a schematic standpoint. They're doing all this shit because they don't have to worry about Hopkins.
Yep.
Right? That's why they're able to do this.
Yeah, with Hopkins playing in the game would have changed the plan dramatically, I think.
Absolutely.
And like Hopkins is a game wrecker. If you don't account for him, he could beat you almost single-handedly. You'd have to have a plan for him.
I hate this rush right here from Vaughn. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know if he's telling him like, "Hey, alert swing" or whatever, but I really don't like this.
Yeah.
Maybe they thought it was going to be QB draw again, but now 51 gets free. Cool block, bro.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Take the sack.
Don't make a bad play worse. Take the sack.
I don't even want to go into that.
Yeah, take the sack.
It sucks. This is where I started to see him get spooked. So next drive, right? Next play, offensive or defensive. 12 personnel. We got under. Again, you got twins to one side. So you got Vaughn walked out to the field. You've got cover 6. And this is where I started to see him get spooked. Really. You could see it. Okay. You got both guys on the drive are open.
Yep.
This is open. This is NFL open.
Yeah. Yeah, that is NFL
okay.
open.
And if you don't like that, you got this with a lot of space. Okay. Yep. Hell, you could even argue this is open. Yep. Right? We're running drive. It's drive with an option route. Weak. I mean, it's open. Rip it now.
Yeah, put it on him.
And he just pats it, and he's seeing ghosts. He tries to do some. This is where, if I'm the DC, I'm now going. And you know I don't like. I don't like doing this shit, but like this is where you cage and mush rush. And you say, we are keeping him in the pocket because he's got a clean pocket with a. I mean, I'm not joking when I say he's a max. With all due respect, bullshit. He's got clear lanes right here to see this, and if he can't see the middle of the field, then Kingsbury needs to be his fucking ass fired for calling drive. Because the 2 main routes are over the ball. So then there's a problem here. Somewhere there's a problem. It's either Kyler is spooked, which I would be too. But I think even me, if you gave me enough Xanax, I could complete this. I mean, that's one I'd feel comfortable with. I'd close my eyes and say, oh shit. But like that, this is when I started to notice the clear, like, oh God. I mean, dude, okay, like, Max, look at this. Look at the giant lane right here.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
don't
come
get
on,
much.
man.
This isn't in the NFL. It don't get any cleaner than that.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. Right
He's got a
there.
pocket to throw it. He's got to rip it,
I
send
mean,
it, full send right down the middle.
yeah. That was the first time. Uh-oh, it says I'm offline. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus.
It still says on the air.
All right, cool. All right. One of the most bizarre plays I've ever seen. We got Penny, we got Sauce, you got the Sam and the Will coming. They call him Will. So the Rams, or I know Fangio calls this Sam, Will, Mike, and then Jack. They're running Saw. I think they just call it Saw Fire Zone. We're rotating well, depending on what you call this. It's tight end wing, so you got empty 12 personnel, so empty YY wing. Technically, this would be the strength, I guess, because there's more stand-up receivers. I don't know how they're declaring this. But they're rotating to the tight end. This is one of the most bizarre plays I've ever seen. We have a interception catch.
This was wild on TV.
Because I looked as it was leaving Rondale's hands and going into the safety's hands, and I went, oh, man. And I turned back to my computer. Like, I was looking at my iPad down here. Well, you can't see me. I was looking at my iPad. I was like, oh, wow. And I looked at my computer for a second, and I looked back, and Rondale's like, first down, or he's got the ball in his hand. I was like, wait, what just happened? Let's watch that one more time.
This was a very wild play.
And Ben early on said that there wasn't a lot of exotic stuff. This is what I'm talking about, or this is what he was talking about. This is just under, and I know it's 12 personnel, but it was just interesting that they're under versus empty. Under, we're just bringing a straight rush, no stunts. The nose kind of has a two-way go, so he crosses face, but it's a straight rush, nothing fancy. Looked better on the TV copy. All right, tailback screen interception. Now we have 3 buzz week, also known as 5 grab in the Fangio's daily world. Okay. They motion across. 2nd and 12, 12 personnel. Tipped.
Oof.
I mean, that's
tough.
Back. I mean, there's not much you can do about that.
That is tough.
Who gets that? A lineman?
Yeah.
Always be
go
ready.
Down. Just go down. Boop. 93. Good for
There's
you,
not
buddy.
much to say about that besides heads up play. So now, I mean, it's 21-0. I almost said nil. I've been watching too much soccer. You're about the 2-minute point in the game. I mean, the game is effectively over at this point. I mean,
yeah,
not
if you don't get a touchdown here before the half, if
yeah.
you go in down 3 touchdowns, you are in deep, deep trouble.
So we got a little 4-man game up front with cover 6. Or some, so I don't know if they're playing man down here.
Yeah, I almost thought this was like 4 meg or something.
It's definitely quarters up now. Now Ramsey's in the slot, which I noticed was different than. I think what was happening, and I could be wrong. This is just me spitballing, and we'd have to track it. Well, it's maybe they're playing corners over. I don't know what's going on, but I know that last year when they played 3-4, he played outside. When they played nickel, he played a lot outside. But when they played their penny, their 3-3-5, he would be the star of the nickel. So I don't know if they're doing something here where because it's nickel to 12 that or it's 2 minute and they're thinking, hey, watch the slots, whatever. But he's playing in the slot for some reason. You got quarters. They're running deep overs. They're trying to get 3-level stretch here. So they send Ertz inside, back out. You get the back out in the flat. I'm sorry, the tight end. The tight end out in the flat. They just eat it up.
Yep. Yeah, they
good job by this
backer
backer
really well
playing this late. Yeah, I think you're
Great
right. I
judo
think it's
match.
just quarters. Let's watch the stunt real quick. Just a straight Tex-X stunt. You want to run the ET game to the center slide, and you want to run the TE game away from the center slide in my book, because
Yep, I
you
agree.
want to go here, here, and then you want to go, because you can still penetrate this from this side, here and there. For me, that's what I like.
Yeah, same. Obviously, the tight end blocking helps him.
Yes.
But like, yeah, your point to like Kyler just being rattled, like this is a great example. Like, you've got to be able to check this ball down to your tight end 99 times out of 100, and he just like shoots a rifle in here that's not even close to the guy. I mean, not that this play is going to like gain a bunch of yardage or anything, but
Yeah.
you can just see how frenetically he's playing. He's just not under control. He doesn't have the confidence. It's just not. He's not feeling it.
Gotcha. Agreed. All right, here's the whip fire zone, the actual fire zone. This is what causes the protection problem, and you get the free hit. Okay, so I did like a 45-minute video on this one pressure, back in like April, May time. But here's the actual fire zone version of it. So normally what would happen is you'd have your bonus dropper here, but you're bringing this. They got to throw hot. This guy's coming down. But right now, with this protection, if this guy goes, you got to throw this ball to this back right now. Would you agree or no?
Yeah, you gotta put it on him. And you got to know. Yeah, you got to know where you're hot. And I don't know, like, I don't know why he's trying to throw the ball there.
Yeah. And I don't know why this backer's stepping up either. I mean, it's second
That,
and 15. There's 2 minutes left on the clock. I mean, maybe they thought you were going to run the ball. But
yeah,
this
maybe
should have been
he's
your
spooked by the
giveaway. They
QB
weren't
draw
going to
again.
gun weak with this guy tight. I mean, but you see the problem with the pressure.
Yeah,
That ball's got to be right now. And the other thing is, this is the problem the splits poses. And this is one of the good things if you're going to run it as a fire zone. Okay? Or a true fire zone. If you run it as a bonus where he's rushing, you can then, pass this and try to bump this back out to this pressure. But now with that nose staying on this side, if this back goes, 68's got to set inside because you always want to make the longest throw. 73 actually tries to pass him off to the center because he sees this guy coming, but he realizes, hey, he's still fighting me. I gotta block this guy. I can't. We can't bump this out.
yeah.
You could see him. Now 61 shows no. Now this is the thing is they're rushing so hard here. 61,
He's
the only
sitting on
way
the
they can
TE
pick
game.
this up is as he slides. If he sees no work, is to get them to bump back out. But
Yeah,
good luck.
it looks like 61 sitting on a TE game too.
Yep.
Because look at who they got over there. They got Donald and Vaughn on the same side.
And Vaughn and Donald's wide too.
Yeah. So
they're expecting it to come back.
He might be sitting on that TE game.
Yep. And so that's where you're getting those guys to run. Yeah, that's and if 54
This kind of stuff too for the listeners out there. This stuff that Vass and I are just kind of making educated guesses on, like all these little details are all hammered out in game plans. This is like what coaches spend all these hours doing. The devil's really in the details in a lot of this stuff, and so like detailing this stuff out is what makes the difference between a good game plan and a great game plan.
if this guy doesn't hesitate and takes a straight beeline, he may take.
Oh, he smokes him. Yeah.
That one step hesitation screws it. All right, so we get switch verts versus 5 grab to the bunch side. So in this stuff, you can play it out like match or truly zone it off. So they actually rotate in the weak hook away from it. You can see the weak hook defender. This is where it kind of plays like quarters. Obviously, this guy gives away that it's not quarters with his frantic. Not frantic, but he's turning and running.
Yeah, it's crossover run to the middle of the field.
But it plays out the same. Yeah, which is why the fan or reporter could never know what is going on because of these nuances. That was in the chat. Okay.
That's an excellent point.
So, this comment was made. I still love. Let me drag this down. I still love that I'm learning new features. Okay, this is exactly right. I'm gonna go on a little bit of a rant here. Will you indulge me for 30 seconds?
Take it away, buddy.
Listen, we're on camera now. If you're doing something, I can hear. I'll do this. Okay. Gerald Alexander, are you camera ready? Can I switch back to you? All right. Gerald Alexander had a rant about PFF the other day, and it was so on point. Gerald Alexander currently is the corners coach for the Miami Dolphins. With the new staff, who knows? I hate shitting on PFF. There's a lot of guys at PFF I love. But these grades, if you don't know what they're being taught, how can you grade them? How can you know what they're doing, if they're doing it right? They may be doing something that looks wrong, but it's what the coach is telling them to do. And so that's what drives me insane. And that was his point the other day was, how can you grade somebody if you don't know what they're being told? What they may be being told is dog shit, but they're doing what they're told. And that's the thing is, if you're not in those meetings, and I've said this, and I will continue to say it over and over and over again, there's some stuff that I know is for sure. Like, I know this is 5 grab. But there's some stuff we don't know. Like, we don't know why that center didn't come back. I mean, we can guess. Because you got a wide Aaron Donald, which is telling me he's coming inside. And then you got Von Miller over there. Which is why having you put your best guys on this one side, you draw the attention, then you blitz away from them. And here's what I like about what Raheem does. And this is one of the added bonuses. Sometimes we get too enamored with scheme. Because I was sitting here thinking the same thing. Let's go back to this play. So when I first watched this, I thought, oh, that's interesting. He's running 5 grab. Or he's running whip. Sorry. He's running whip, but he's not running the fire zone part. I don't think it's a coincidence. Could be wrong. I don't think it's a coincidence. I don't want to go back. But when we saw the first whip, when 54 kind of dropped out, that 54 dropped, but Von didn't. Because it's Von fucking Miller. So, would you gain something by having him play outside of 3? Sure, you could. You could with the bonus hook dropper. But it's 2nd and 15. And that's Von Miller. So, rush him. You know what I mean? So, that could also be it. And I think sometimes, and that Troy Aikman tweet that I retweeted earlier today, where he was like, today, too many guys want to talk about schemes and plays, which I know I'm guilty of. But if I was playing quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys last week, CeeDee Lamb would have had 10 catches in the first half because the corner was playing off. And sometimes that's true.
Sometimes it's just that simple.
It's just that simple. And maybe this is one of those cases where in the Fangio playbook, in the Staley playbook, in the Raheem Morris playbook, maybe playbook in, when did they trade for Vaughn? Was it during camp? When did they trade for him? It was before the season.
It was during the season. It was a couple weeks in.
Okay. I'm sure that Raheem,
it was a big
deal. Put his
playbook
together, was going to say, let's run wet fire zone and bonus hook dropper and all that stuff. Because all those guys that have ever run that shit, that's what they do. But now you have Von Miller. You better rush his ass. So that's what as simple as it comes down to. Anyway, let's pick up the pace. We're in typical fashion. We're an hour and a half in, and we are not halfway through the game. All right. I'm gonna try to keep it as close to 2 hours as possible. All right, we watched this already. 5 grab. The weak safety is gonna play the weak hook. he plays the benders. I've noticed basically similar routes on every third down. Get to the sticks, curl up. They throw it short, check down, punt team alert.
Again, here's Donald and Vaughn on the same side. No game though. Straight rush.
And you could tell they're sliding to him because he's coming across, and every time
Hell yeah.
they're definitely sliding to him. But this is where having great, again, personnel. Yes, it's great to have good players. No shit. Thanks, Coach Vass. Appreciate you for the insight. But this is schematically where it shows up. And you still have Leonard Floyd over here.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
this is
because
where
of
this
his
is the combination of good
it does-
players and good coaching meets.
Yeah, and because of this guy could be me playing, he's got to honor this. He can't just let him go, right? Which sets that up.
Yeah. Yep.
Now, the problem is my man here doesn't just keep rushing through that. And I get it. It's that you're caught between, hey, I gotta trick this guy into thinking that I'm taking him, but also there's Agent One back here that I gotta contain. So that's where I noticed that they got out faster, a lot more quicker. They got out a lot quicker than they normally do when I've seen them before.
Yep.
Like a lot of times they'd rush through the B gap to contain. They ain't doing that shit.
Yep.
All right, this will pick up the pace because really the game is dead by now. We're getting Penny Sam 5 grab again versus zone read. So you're bringing the Sam. There's nobody in the box. I love this. This is I talk about this a lot when Robert Mays from The Athletic had me on. We talked. I primed him for his interview with Brandon Staley. He said, "I just want to watch some film and talk through with you." I said, "Yeah, of course, man. Whatever you need." So the first play he turns on was basically this play, or this call. Obviously, it was last year, and I saw this, and I just started laughing. I'm like, if I did that shit, my ass would be fired so fast, your head would spin.
Yeah.
Okay. But
Yeah,
this is what I'm talking about earlier in the game when I said that they're playing. Normally, it's 3 if there's a 2-man service, 4-eye if there's a 3-man service. I think they're doing opposite here. Not opposite, I'm sorry. I think versus gun.
It's based on the back, I think.
3 to the back, 4-eye away.
Yeah.
And I think it's because it makes him have to fan harder, which means he can come inside.
Yeah, and I think it clears up the fit for the safety because playing 5 grab, like look at 20 right here. By rule, he's got an A gap fit. Now the nose is playing both sides of this block, and he's just dominating. But this is, by rule, if you drew up, what everybody's gap fit is, 20's got an A gap fit. Yeah. So
you want to bounce it, if you can.
Yeah.
I don't know his PFF grade, but their center had a terrible game. Terrible. Yeah. All right. This is what I meant earlier when I said they had a cue on something. There was something in there that was telling me, I don't know, man. So they're playing. This is not a normal front and pressure that they would call in this situation. They're calling under saw dog, fire zone, under saw, fire zone. Saw dog is a term used by Dave Aranda, or used to. The dog is the pressure. Saw is the pressure, dog is the coverage. Where they're just lining up in an under front. They're not even like walking the guy out and then bringing him. The center had a 36 grade. Okay, yeah. So I'm not crazy here. This is not something you normally see versus this look from this type of defense, right? So they must have had some sort of tell or something they knew was coming because it was too perfect of a call.
Watch 51 playing linebacker here. This is a really good fit the ball rep. Working horizontally here, fitting the ball.
He sticks his foot in the ground. That's a problem.
Yep.
This is a bad read from Murray. I think again, I don't know, man. Like, this is the stuff that if he's not going to throw the ball over the
Don't get
middle,
more
then
open than
don't call
that.
it.
Yeah, it don't get more open than that.
He's open right now. Throw it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's either on Kyler
Yeah,
or it's
this is
on
where
Cliff. If you're
if you're
asking
a
a player
defensive
to
guy
do
for the
something they
Rams in the
can't do,
box,
then don't
you're
ask them
thinking
to
we
do it.
got him.
If you're asking them to do, like, if they can't do it, then don't do it. But if
Yeah.
they're doing it in practice and
Yeah,
then
I
all of a
think
sudden
this
they
is where
snatch up in the
if you're
game, that's a problem.
yeah, big problem. I think too if you're a Rams coach up in the box and you see stuff like that, you're saying, hey man, we got him. He's not seeing the field clearly. If you got a call or a funky coverage rotation that you've been saving up, like
Mm-hmm.
now might be a good time to call it because he's not seeing the field right now. This is the time we could get an interception.
So we have Saw again, or
Here's an
this is
interesting little
Penny
play.
Sam. So we're going 5 grab. So we're rushing the Sam from the strong side and we're weak side rotating again. This is what's different about this look, and this is I think what screws up quarterbacks. They bring 2 guys back through interesting play design.
Yeah, I think that 51 bossed over is so far strong. As soon as you see that alignment as the quarterback, you've got to know immediately you're going to get weak rotation.
Mm-hmm. Here's next play. We got Penny Sam 3 again, or 5 grabs. So again, we are bringing this guy off the edge. We are dropping this guy out. We were using weak insert buzz rotation against the RPO. Again, you got a 5-0 box. This is what's so interesting about this stuff. But again, and we talked about this last year when I broke down the Rams. The problem that you're having is this. Okay? They're playing Penny. They're shading the back. They're shading the nose now to the back. Okay? Technically, this safety has the A gap. And this is where you mind F the offensive coordinators. Okay? You got an overhang. So let's walk through this from the wide copy. Okay? We're playing 3 deep zone. So he's your, and this is how they call it: seam flat, hook, strong hook, weak hook, seam flat. Okay. He is out of the run fit because the back is to him, so he's going to sit on the throw in the RPO. Okay. Why most people do not like weak rotation versus under fronts versus mint front, tight front is because, and this was told to me, I asked Tosh LaPoy when he was at Alabama a long time ago, I said, how come y'all never play weak rotation tight front? And he goes, because Coach Saban doesn't want a safety fit in the A gap from deep. And I went, makes sense, especially when you're the only guy in the box. Okay? But here's the problem, and this is why I love watching NFL shit, because you can do stuff like this. These guys know, the guys on the sidelines know that the only play that they can run in here, this is the gap you got to run to. Here's the problem. Agent 99 is standing right there. And with the patented, invented last year, Brandon Staley 2-gap, 1-gap technique, I zone this here, I got to go here out to here. He's going to rip my face off and duck inside, which gives him the final B gap. Or you got to bang inside, but you're trying to stay away from his ass. So it's going to hit now. And that's why it's able to be played like this. Now, this was, I think, predetermined. This was not I don't think this was an RPO.
Yeah, I don't think he's reading it. I think it's predetermined as well.
You gotta fit it like it is, because it's like triple option. You don't know when I'm going to pitch it.
Right. You've got to honor everything.
But that is a clear as day, because there's nothing about this that says throw the ball.
Nope. Everything says hand that baby off. Yep. You got to hand that baby off and run it on the safety. Make the safety fit it from that far off.
But this is the type of shit. Anybody else in America, you would say run the ball
Yeah, you got to hand that off all day.
all day. But this is the problem. This is where these guys, the X's and O's, where they become so, this guy's X is this big, this guy's X is this big, where
Yeah.
it's
No,
like,
I was listening to one of those mushroom clinics, the offensive line deal,
yeah,
and man, I forget his name now. He was in the Kubiak Shanahan wide zone system all them years. He recently passed.
Alex
Alex
Gibbs.
Gibbs. Alex Gibbs, and he was saying one of the problems they have is he's like, I've got this guard, who we're trying to pay like less than $2 million a year, and we got to find a way to get this guy to block the $20 million a year 3 technique, who's just so much more athletic, way more physically gifted. Like, how do we do it? Well, the wide zone can help us, instead of like, hey, we're going to run the power and my guard's going to move this 3 technique. He's like, no, he's not, not a chance. So he's like, the wide zone helped us, find specific offensive linemen who could block these big behemoths.
Yeah.
So, like you get an Aaron Donald, and it's, I heard, I don't remember which offensive coordinator was talking about this, but he said as we put game plans together, when defenses have game records like that, like 99, it's a big part of the game plan is how do we neutralize this player? How do we keep him uninvolved in the game plan? How do we avoid him? How do we whatever the plan is? You've got to have a plan for that. But it's, I mean, how do you avoid this right here when your most dominant player is a 3 technique? How do you avoid that? It's
So
almost
I always
impossible.
take a better, superior interior lineman versus an edge guy, unless it's super freak. Okay,
Yeah.
this drives me insane as a coach watching this. Okay, your whole system is built on showing everything too high, and this is the beautiful part about this penny stuff that you can't get in 4 down, as you can get buzz insertion with this guy outside. This is where the 3-4 stuff, this is where the Jim Leonard stuff is great, because in 4-2-5 you can't. It's hard to disguise because you got to bring this guy. I mean, you disguise it, but this guy has the flat always because he's your weak side rotation player. But with this, you get him out there. He can insert. You can cover this tight end different ways. Okay.
Yeah.
But this drives me absolutely fucking crazy. Is this?
Yeah.
Get your ass on a fucking string. You
No
guys
question.
need to be like this. If you're gonna play this defense, and your whole thing is, guys, we're gonna show too high, and we're gonna confuse them. I mean, I know it's hard to see depth always when you're behind the ball. That's why, as great as it is to talk about linebackers and seeing the depth of the back, that shit's hard, which is why we always gave depth of the back tells to our DNs, because they could look down the line and be like, oh shit, that's much easier to see than if you're standing in front of somebody. But come on, man. I mean, this shit just drives me nuts. And it's little stuff like this that you're giving away, you're coming down.
Yeah. The Broncos with Fangio do this a whole lot better. They're on a string much more together than a lot of these other guys. Like the most of these Broncos safeties will be away from each other is like 1 yard, which, when you're 12 yards deep and the quarterback's 5 yards deep in the gun, that's probably going to look dead ass even. But the lining up pre-rotated, that's hard. That's a tough life to live when you just show the quarterback the picture pre-snap and don't make him do any kind of processing post-snap. That's a tough world to live in.
For defenses too. It's so easy to do.
Yeah.
I'm finally glad that moving. It's anybody that's known me for a long time. I've been preaching moving and stemming back since 2007. When my first year started, my mentor showed me that shit. We were moving from bear to even to bear when everybody thought that was the corniest shit. So it's kind of funny to me to be like, oh my God, there's this new thing called moving and stemming. Have you seen it? And I was like, all right, so here's stick now with the backside slants. Let's go to the video. This is where the 3-4 gets put on steroids when you play this penny stuff, because again, the SAM is activated and they're rotating away from it. Because usually football math is you you're down, you're here. But because they are closing this off, where if you're in the mint package and you're bringing this guy, that's a nickel, then you're having to replace, and then he's back, this guy's back. You're able to do this. And what's able to happen is it cleans these windows up. Because normally in quarters, right, to the two side, the backer would have to expand with the flat, and then you stick this in. But now the guy's in the line of scrimmage. He's a pass protection threat, especially that's Vaughn. So, but now this is what Kyler does. He gets that ball and he bangs that slant in. But again, now you're seeing the beauty of the 3 stuff, because now in quarters, this guy would have to match the back, right? And then
he would match final 3 in this window would be huge, but now he's opening into the window that the quarterback can't tell if it's going to be open or not.
And here's what's deadly is you bring this guy and drop this guy in the wind. I mean, this is where this defense can really. I'm a 4-down guy by birthright, almost being a Miami Hurricane, but this is where this stuff can get real spicy, and especially in quick game.
Yeah.
Where you're not forced to play cover 2. You're not forced to be like, okay, well, we need to control this stuff. We need to play, cover 2 or whatever. 3 deep can actually have some real advantages out of this stuff. And he bangs it in there. They get the completion, but I just thought it was interesting. You're seeing the game within the game.
Yeah, and I think what you're seeing is like a real defensive system, right? So they know what the weaknesses are in the quarter stuff, and so they got together and got creative and said, okay, how can we take this player they think is the final 3 player and move him weak? Well, here's how you would have to do it. You have to move him weak. Now the safety can insert and play this weak buzz, and this line of scrimmage player can be the seam flat player. And so like what you're developing is a real defensive system that's got answers and multiplicity built into the scheme.
Absolutely. Here was something I found interesting, and this just caught my eye, and I don't know why it's the first time that it caught my eye. I think it's because I've been watching a lot of high school film lately. I'm doing a study. So I'm watching a lot of high school film, and a lot of the times we deem anything where the line is touching the hash as to be on the hash. Because normally we would tell our kids we call the field from upright of the goalpost and out, not the hash. So if the ball's outside the upright of the goalpost, the other side is the field, right? And it's just funny to me. I don't know why this is the first time I've ever noticed this. I feel like a fool. Well, I don't feel like a fool, but whatever. These guys actually, because they're so big and the hashes are so narrow, they actually go hash to hash. My man's foot here is touching the hash in the ball. I mean, damn, that's fantastic. And when the ball's in the middle of the field, both sides are touching the hashes. All right, here's a snap of, I looked at this. I'm thinking it's got to be some version of stump or stubby, where you're playing off corner, because the nickel, and I know they're not quite in the red area yet. But you can see the nickel sink off. You're going to get your typical, some people call this YY corner, chair, Indy, Buffalo 7. What gives it away again?
Cash route in the red area. This is everybody's cash money route.
Yeah. You got the 3 on the ball, which gives it away too. I think that's another thing that gives away a lot of what they do is who is where. And I guarantee you some point on some scouting report they had, if
no doubt
this guy is on the ball and it's this dude, then it's this. And that's a very college thing.
That's a huge college thing. That was something we looked at every week. Like, who's on the ball, 1, 2, or 3, and then who is it, what jersey number,
right?
And then what route are you getting? And like when you break it down like that, you're like, oh shit! Like they only run 2 routes with this guy on the ball, and they only run 2 routes when this guy's on the ball. And it's like you feel like as a coach, by the end of the week, you're like, I know exactly what I'm going to get based on who's on the ball.
And as you start to watch the game, I know as a defensive coordinator, because our brains are trained like this, we are looking, and I know that as a QC, you do a lot of this too. We're trained to start guessing. After we watch a couple series, that's how you get right. And you're wrong, especially early. I'm wrong like 75% of the time. Like, oh, this is definitely ISO. And that's hard play action spear. And I'm like, well, fuck. I was a little off. But you're starting it. That's how you think, right? That's how you get trained when you're watching teams. You started to guess. And I'm sure I'm annoying as shit. And usually when at that part of the game plan, I'm watching by myself. But I'm sure if you were to sit and watch film with me, you'd be annoyed at me because every play I'd be like, oh, it's going to be this. And I'm wrong. I'm like Tony Romo, but I'm not on television where he's guessing every play. The only reason I didn't think it was going to be this play is because they were outside the 25. But everything else gave it away. But you'll see the corner's going to jump the 5-yard sit or in route or whatever, and the nickel's going to play the corner. I don't know if this is the an adjustment, corner route rather. I don't know if this is an adjustment or a call, but this is something that is popular in the NFL. And I talked about this a couple weeks ago. I don't think you were on. I think this is the week before you were here. If I was, stop me. So most people play stubby. For those of you guys don't know, corner is on 1. Nickel has vertical of 2, swing deep of 2 or 3, meaning he's got 2 or 3 on the out. This safety here is vertical of 3. 3 disappears. I'm going to play to 2. And then backside is usually, they call it mega cone. Corner's locked in. If the way the Bama plays it is if the receiver inside stems, they double. If the receiver outside stems, right, he looks front side. Now that's not the groundbreaking part. The groundbreaking part of, not groundbreaking, it's a little heavy-handed, is in the NFL, if you got like teams that put Tyreek and Kelsey together, what they'll do is they'll play stubby with poach, which I know is like, why would you do that? Like, yeah. I don't understand that. Like, I almost said his name. I don't think he wants to be revealed. I think you know who I'm talking about. Taught me this concept.
Yeah.
And it's a way to, you're basically bracketing 2 and you're bracketing 3.
Yep.
What's interesting to me is, here's what I don't understand is what in this call, because this guy's got 3, right? It should be
3 vertical, yeah.
I drive, he drives this one, and then these 2 bracket the corner out.
Yep.
Now, I just told that other story as an aside. They're playing stubby halves. That was just a random fact. That doesn't tie into this play. The ADHD kicked in. But I don't know if, and here's what my thought was, okay? Kingsbury was one of the first people to run the sluggo, but like the not sluggo as in the slant and go route. I'm talking about this play and then burst up the pipe.
Yeah, Mike Bobo used to run that. He called it shoot. Get you every time.
So my question is, do you think that he is protecting the shoot?
Maybe.
Because
like
if
if that's
these 2 guys going inside, watch. These 2 guys go inside. He's got number 3, right? I got vertical 3. Do you think if he sees both these guys disappear inside, that he's now going to play the and go and he's going to sink out to play the corner?
That you'd have to feel really comfortable about that, doing that as a game plan. You'd have to feel pretty confident that's what you were about to get. But if you felt that confident about it, yeah.
Here's why, because usually this is a 5-yard in, right? Hard, come off the line, then square it back in. But they lazily come off the ball like this, and they're breaking in right now. And if he's so deep, he can see over the top of this. I mean, they're inside right now. So maybe my thought is he's climbing for the corner. He's going to play the and go of this right here because he knows he's in the half. He's out on this side, so he's got no help.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
I don't know.
And maybe it's based on like
who's I could think of why they did this.
Yeah, and it could be one guy screwed it up, but the other thing is, it could be based on who's at 2 and who's at 3. That looks like Ertz at 3 running the corner route. He's probably not the double move candidate in the high red like this, in the super high red. Outside the 25. You would need a speedster to run this play to score on it. One of these DBs might catch Ertz, and then you run a kind of a trick play for not a touchdown. That might be a bit of a bummer.
I'm talking about 2 running. I'm talking about him doing this and these guys coming like this and then bursting like this. like that.
Yeah. Well, I think it would. I would like it if you knew you were going to get stubby. I think it would be better to do it with two, a skill player at two, because then you get a skill player matched up on a linebacker on a double move in space. You got to like that
That's
all
what I'm
day.
thinking. But I just don't understand why he comes in so. They've got to be some sort of tell. Anyway,
Yeah.
just a random thought. All right,
Yeah.
we're getting towards the end. There's like 9 plays left, but we're not because the end starts to get rubbish. But uh, we got cover one, 5-man pressure. This is interesting because this is I think this was we're putting some shit on tape to for next
Yeah.
week.
Yeah. The game's out of hand. We're gonna put a blitz in here that is just totally off the wall, just to
Yeah,
make you think about it. And other than third down, there was not a lot of man to man played in this game.
no. Well, it was just interesting to me because they line up in the 5-man front and they bring him down to like cover the running back, but then he just like keeps going. It's
Yeah.
weird. I don't know
I don't know
what's
if it's
going
like a
on
green
here.
dog or something or what. Yeah.
Double green dog. Let's watch the coverage real quick. So you get the slot fade. It's it's easy as hell to play the slot fade when you're lining up that far off and you're up by 30, 20 something points or whatever.
Yeah.
If only it was easy to cover the slot fade.
Yeah.
Let's watch the prep. I don't know what this is pressure wise. I think this is the
Yeah, there might be a little confusion here about who's got
yeah,
who.
that's some sort of bust. I can't tell what that is. Here's some 5 grab action. So
This is great. Like the last handful of plays, he just keeps calling the same thing.
off on
Which
offense
is
or defense?
yeah, on defense,
Yeah.
which is pretty standard when you're closing out a
Oh
game.
yeah, they played the 5 grab stuff. So again, this is how Georgia plays. So this is Georgia Bama when they play dime cover 6. It is built in when they play dime 6. So if it was nickel 6, this guy would be in the box. He would come down outside. In Saban's world, dime cover 6 is automatic buzz with a DB out there. Now, obviously, the Rams are playing their hybrid linebacker. He's not really a
Now,
hybrid, but he's light in the
you,
ass.
I know the Bama system from a big perspective, but you know it way more detailed out than I do.
Mm-hmm.
And this is almost like one clue-ish, like the same rotation. Obviously, it's zone, not man. But would they do it 2-by-2 rotation away from the back? It's just as a way to mix it up like quarters. I guess my thinking here, and I'm kind of thinking out loud. So if this is idiotic, just cut me off and say you're an idiot. But like it's 2-by-2 with the back to the field. You're expecting this backer lined up in the box to relate to 3.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get does it make sense what I'm saying? Like you get the rotation. Could you rotate it like away from the back or maybe to the back and screw up the quarterback's read? Maybe flip the rotation.
You could absolutely do that. I don't think that's why they're doing it, though.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think they're just playing 5 grab.
I think they're just saying, fuck it, we're going to go here, and we're going to have
Yeah,
him be the weak hook defender.
I totally agree. But like just as a game plan deal, could you say, all right, 2-by-2, we're going to rotate away from the back just to screw the quarterback's read up here?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Great middle. And you had in the comments, great middle of the field safety play. Let's just watch this middle of the field play right here.
Yeah. So as a safety, we say all the time, depth is range. The more depth you play with, the more ground you can cover. And as a middle of the field safety, there are certain areas on the field you're expected to be able to cover, and this is one of them. You've got any middle of the field safety worth his salt has got to be able to make this play down the middle of the field, down the seam here. This is a gotta have it play from the middle of the field player, and this is a great play.
So the Rams have pulled their main guys here in this last drive.
Yeah, 99, 40, they're all out. 54, they're all out.
Here's the same defensive call. They're just getting curl flat by the offense. Nothing to.
It's funny, like going back to sometimes it is that easy. Like you study the Rams, you're going to get a bunch of cover 3, whether it's 3 buzz, 3 fire zone, 5 grab, like whatever it is. You're getting a bunch of 3D principles. And this is the first curl flat throw that I remember from the game.
Yeah.
Like if you're saying like, look, we're going to get at least 60-65% single high here, how are we not throwing curl flat more often?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe it really is just that simple. How do you attack three deep? You throw curl flat.
Although, have you seen them vary their cadence? I was just noticing this guard. He's watching the center's ID and he pats them, then they go. Now, I don't know if this is because it's 2 minute, but it's. Here's the other thing. I didn't see. I didn't see any movement in the pocket. I don't know if it's because the Rams are playing the penny stuff and they're real wide, but I didn't see any movement. I didn't see any boots. I didn't see any. No, I'm not a big advocate of sprint out in the professional level, but
Me either.
I didn't see any pocket movement. Did you? Do you
Yeah.
remember?
No, I don't remember any pocket movement.
I love this version of 3 deep. So they're running some of the sight stuff where they're reading off the back. Now, this back is not a huge threat, but they'll read the back, and if he flares, then he'll take him, and he'll become the weak hook. And if he blocks, then he'll take him, and he'll become the weak hook. But it's kind of predetermined. They'll either predetermine it or call it. Well, they're playing so far off. So Marshawn, I agree with you, but it's also 34-11 with 3 minutes left. So point
You're
taken
playing
with
GTFB
you,
coverage.
but just nothing behind you. Let them do their 6 yard gains. Hopefully Cliff will forget that he's in the pros and he'll think you'll get the clock will stop after a first down. But yeah, they didn't do any. There's no movement. It's all these drop back passes and play actions, but keeping the quarterback in the pocket. Like, wouldn't you want to use his legs to get him on the edge or try something? But I just don't. I think, and I know the Rams did a good job of caging him. They played really wide on. Maybe that's why they didn't do it. But that's all she wrote. But that is something that I don't know. Oh shit. Oh, we're getting crazy in here. What's going on? I hit the wrong button. Oh my god. All hell's breaking loose over here. I don't know what's going on. What is going on? Wow. I was trying to move my screen and I moved let me lock this thing. Wow. Rookie move. And to think, I hadn't done that in a while. And then I get crazy right at the end. I mean, I've never been a real Kingsbury fan. I was stunned that he got the job. I know they had a very good year to start off, or a very good start to the year rather, and I just didn't see it. I saw the college air raid offense from 10 years ago on this game. I don't know. I mean, I didn't see a lot of creativity. I didn't see a lot of using your players to their best talents. You have a short quarterback and you're going to keep him in the pocket. Getting compressed sets, get the ball out fast. There wasn't a lot of RPO, get Ertz going out in the flat the other way and dump it to him. I mean, we saw it one time. And granted, the Rams, they had a really good plan. They played a lot of penny, so they were using their outside backers to take those edge plays away. But you would think with them relying so much on copying their inside guys for pass, if I'm Murray and I'm dropping back and I see Miller drop, I'm trying to escape to that side. Let their fat ass linemen try and contain me in space. I don't know. I just didn't. I didn't see anything to. It felt like I was watching a cookie cutter. I felt like I was watching a script from a spring practice. We're gonna do what we do and whatever. We got to get better. We got to do our thing. I didn't see any attack. I mean, did you see any attack of the Rams scheme?
No, not really. Yeah, that's a great comment you just made. It felt like at the end of practice where you put the threes versus the threes and you just kind of call your basic stuff.
Yeah,
that's kind of what it did feel like. The Rams definitely had a plan to attack and take certain things away, and they really had an idea of, okay, this is what we're got to stop, and this is how we're going to do it, and they executed it well. And I think, not, to piggyback on what you just said, not only do I think they just kind of ran some of their base plays, and it didn't seem like they ever did anything to really truly attack anybody. They didn't play very well. Their quarterback doesn't have much confidence. It looks like he played, like he was just super jittery and nervous, and just, I don't know. He just
Well,
looked
and what was
uncomfortable
it, his
all
first
night.
playoff game too? Was that his first playoff game?
Yeah, I think it was his first playoff game.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, obviously missing Hopkins is a huge piece of the offense, and anytime you lose a weapon like that, it's hard to adjust. I'm sure with Hopkins healthy, they saw a bunch of specific coverages to try to help Hopkins, and I'm sure they were able to take advantage of that, at certain times, and with that missing, I'm sure that was tough to adjust. But yeah, I'm not sure that they had a great plan going in, and then they certainly didn't execute very well either.
Well, and here's the story of the game. This is according to my data, which could be way off, but they had 39 passes, 17 runs, which is 70% pass.
Yeah.
3 point yards per play in the pass, 3.2 yards per run. So like,
Wow.
you're not going to get it done. But
No.
they
And
came out
like,
early. I mean, the thing that was weird to me is the first play of the game they run counter out of 12 personnel, owl, sniffer, whatever.
yeah.
And you never saw that again. It was weird, man.
Yeah.
It was weird. Like usually
Yeah.
when you watch an offense play, you can see as they would say in like European soccer, the questions they're trying to ask. Like, what can
Yeah.
you defend this? Can you stop that? I didn't see a theme there besides, hey, if it's
No.
really long yardage, let's throw some choice routes at the sticks like that. I don't know.
Yeah. I never got the feeling like, hey, this is what we came into the game trying to do, and this is how they're defending us. Okay, here's what we had in case we got this. Like it didn't seem like they were super prepared to attack what they were going to get, and just based on what we got, like we knew this is who the Rams were on defense. This is what they play. This is how they play it. But you just never felt like Arizona had anything dialed up to attack any of it. Um,
Yeah.
you know,
And there was nothing in their game plan that was like, hey, this is what's happening. I do think, and now that I'm thinking about this, remember the 11 personnel call that I said was they were in like under 4,
Yeah.
which was not a
Yeah.
normal thing. I wonder if they had it, just spitballing here. I wonder if they classified personnel different based on which tight end was in the game.
Yeah, and that is the other. We do that in college too. You get some tight ends who come in, and like, hey, this guy is going to be in line in the C area. He's blocking, and when they put this guy in the game, he's split out. He's like the H back. If he's blocking on split zone or something, you feel good about it because he ain't about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that absolutely could have been it. They put a different tight end in the game. It's not Ertz. It's either it's run or it's pass, and one of the threats is eliminated because of who the tight end is. So, yeah, that could absolutely be it as well.
But you didn't even see like they didn't do anything out of the ordinary. Yeah, they may have like ran more fire zone than whatever, or like picked a play here and there more so than another, but they didn't do anything that was different. They didn't do anything that
No.
was like, oh wow, I can't believe they ran quarter half. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's
And I made this comment when we did the Chiefs Steelers game a couple weeks ago when the Chiefs just beat the brakes off the Steelers. Like in the Cardinals offense, obviously, and I haven't watched a bunch of Cardinals games this year, but like there wasn't a whole lot of shifting or motioning or there wasn't anything. They didn't, there's cheap stuff on offense, just basic change of strength motion, reloading the tight ends, motioning into stacks and bunches and motioning into different things to make, to create doubt in the defense, to not just line up and let everybody communicate, make a call, get everybody on the same page, like formation into that, motion into that, shift into that. Don't let the defense just see a picture, make a call, and play. Don't play it like 7-on-7, right? That's too easy, especially for a good NFL defense. You've got to do things to create opportunities for defenses to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Reload the front, right? Trade the tight ends, motion receivers,
Mm-hmm.
line them up in different spots, start them out wide, motion. Just it doesn't have to be complex, but like we felt a bunch of times in the game that maybe the Rams were really clued into what they were going to get based on who was where and the splits of all this different stuff. Disguise that by motioning, disguise that by, starting in a tight bunch and then moving two guys over. And now it's trips with a nub tight end, and so now you're not immediately aware, hey, it's trips with a trips with a split X. You've now motioned or traded into that instead of just lined up in it where everybody could say, hey, guys, it's trips with a split X. We're going to get one of these 3 plays. Like, everybody be alert. Like, we ran this in practice all week. Do something, put some window dressing in there. Like, especially when there's not a whole lot of different plays or concepts being run, you've got to disguise that stuff.
Well, I didn't even see anything that was like, oh, there's a quarters beater. I mean, the Rams play one of the highest ratios of quarters, and I didn't see post dig, I didn't see dagger, I didn't see scissors, I didn't see anything that was like attacking this shit. And when they did it, it was all stuff that could get picked up. Like they ran the corner, they ran like a outside guy ran in a corner, he broke inside and then ran the corner. Then there was a second level guy coming, and then a flat guy. But quarters can handle 3-level stretches. Like that's And the way that they play their cover 2, where they sink out their corner, like they were trying to hit these deep over routes, and it's like, dude, did you forget who you're not playing the Seahawks, bro?
Yeah. Like what? Why didn't you throw X dig? Like why was there no
Nothing,
X dig in there?
Nothing like that.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. I'm really excited because I think there's going to be the next couple of weeks. We've got 3 more of these left. I think there's going to be some really, really interesting concepts and games going on.
It might be fun. Hopefully, what do we get? 49ers, Packers, and you get Rams, Tampa Bay. I mean, there are some really good games coming up. There ought to be some really good stuff to watch and go through coming up in the next 3 weeks.
I wonder, is it the Bills and the Chiefs?
Yeah.
Man, it's too bad that that's not the conference final.
I know. They're and like the Bills have given the Chiefs problems. The Chiefs have really adapted their offense this season. For how teams are playing them. In the super soft quarters. Taking away all the deep throws, making them check it down, making them be disciplined, making them be patient, all that kind of stuff. So, it'll be interesting to see that game. I'm really excited to watch that.
And Donovan, we're not sleeping on the Titans, but in terms of doing a watch on defense, it's when you play against the Titans, it's all run fit stuff, which again is good, but it can turn into gobbledygook depending on the defense. Yeah. Where it's like, okay, this guy's got this gap, and this guy's got that gap, and this guy's got that gap, and they all played their gaps.
Yeah. Maybe who do the Titans play?
The Bengals.
Ooh.
Now the Titans defense.
Now the Titans defense defending the Bengals offense might be good. That would
be good.
Yeah.
Maybe
because Vrabel, he's going to come up with a plan to neutralize or try to neutralize, Chase and all the weapons that the Bengals have, and Joe Burrow's playing lights out. He is really good, man. Holy smokes, he's
I
good.
heard he didn't have the arm to play in the NFL.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, average arm.
I love it because no matter, well, I don't want to get in this whole thing, but no matter what happens, how many examples that we've seen in the history of football of this, people get enamored with big people that can run fast and can throw a ball hard.
No doubt.
There is nothing, and I'm going to say something hot take central, right? There's nothing that I've seen yet that tells me that Justin Fields is a better quarterback. And I don't want to get into this whole thing, but that Justin Fields is a better quarterback than Joe Burrow. Better quarterback. Not better prospect. Not better talent. Not better whatever. And you could talk about the coaching and everything. I get all that. But it's funny that people rag on Joe Burrow, who is kicking ass, playing his ass off. And, people say, well, Fields is better. Well,
who said?
okay.
I want to know who says Justin Fields is better than Joe Burrow. Who's
I'd
saying
say
that?
there's a lot of people.
Are there? Ugh, that's a bad take.
Well, it's all based
nothing
on
against Justin
potential, and it's
Fields,
all
but
based on. And I get the bullshit stereotypes about black quarterbacks, and I think that sometimes it can go the other way, where guys are like, because there's been a lot of talk about that, people saying bullshit, Lamar Jackson should be receiver
right,
and all those fucking stereotypes that I hate.
yeah,
But I think that there's been almost like a counter push to that, which is like, if you criticize anything, it's, well, you don't criticize this guy and you don't criticize that guy, and listen, Mac Jones, I think, is a better talent than Justin Fields. If we're talking about size, speed, arm strength, whatever. But Mac Jones had a better season than Justin Fields. Is he a better player? I don't know. But he had a better season. But if you say that, then you're a dumbass and all this stuff. And it's like, well, okay, but that happened. That's true. You know what I mean? Like that's a thing. And maybe Matt Nagy is the worst ever, but like, people make fun of Joe Burrow still. And I mean, it's calmed down, but think about when Chase, Penei Sewell was the right, and there's people still standing and banging the table. Penei Sewell was the right choice. Penei Sewell was the right choice. Penei Sewell was the right choice. He was the right choice. And it's like, okay, but look at these two. I mean, look at them together.
yeah.
There's something to that. I know that the NFL, there's no such thing as momentum, and there's no such thing, there's a lot of, it's weird. When you cross the white line, there's a lot of things in human nature that apparently disappear, according to the fucking nerds. But I think there's something to be partnerships. I mean, there's sports soccer is built on partnerships. That's the whole thing, is your right back and your right wing got to be together. And if you have a quarterback and
those
a receiver,
two specifically, that example of Chase and Burrow, because they have chemistry going back 2 years in college.
Yeah,
like they, and I imagine
one
at
of the
some
best
point
offenses in
asked Joe,
history of college football.
Yeah, and at some point the Bengals brought Joe Burrow in and said, "Hey man, tell us about Chase. Like, give us the real story on the kid."
Hell yeah, they did.
And Joe's like, draft him, gotta take him. That's my guy. Like, he's not a rookie. Like, he's gonna come in and play like a season. Like, this guy knows what he's doing. Like, you got to take this guy. We're gonna destroy this place.
Question.
Yeah.
How much would it take? You might be the wrong person to ask, but how much would it take to get the Vikings to give up Justin Jefferson? Because could you imagine if the Bengals somehow traded for Jeff? See, I love that.
Honestly, it would take a quarterback, I think.
Really?
That's what the Vikings would be looking for, is try to get out of that Kirk Cousins contract.
Which is crazy because he does really well sometimes. It's a wild deal. But
yeah,
my first thing I did, and this is because I was a Hurricane, when I went to, you think it'd be multiple first round Donovan? It wouldn't be one. So, well, it'd be multiple because the Bengals would be choosing low. So yeah. But the first thing I did, I don't know how you were, but Madden, first thing I did was I created an all Miami team, especially in college when you could, your tight ends were Shockey, pre-crazy Kellen Winslow, Greg Olsen, Bubba Franks. Like you'd have to like switch one of them to fullback. So I've always rooted for those guys from college playing together. I'm just imagining them getting the band back together and just dominating. But yeah, it's just stuff like that. How do I think the Rams will do against Brady? I don't know. I mean, I'm not good at that stuff, Marshawn. I don't know why I just went out of focus. I don't know what's going on. Let me try my trick where I cover the camera and then uncover and it snaps back in. Well, I think this is our sign to end this because I just went blurry. I'm not good at prognosticating. I'm not good at predicting. That's not what I do. I will say this. Here's where I will prognosticate. I think you see a lot of more four down stuff. You're not going to see as much of this Von Miller walked out on receivers and shit. I think they're going to get down and they're going to play. They're going to bring four and try to beat him with a traditional 4-man pass rush. That's what I think. I don't think you're going to see much Penny. Anyway, I think this is a sign of the gods that we should call it here. Ben at BenR4033 on Twitter. I'm at Coach Vass, or the podcast account at MDGA Podcast. We will be starting season 4 this coming up very soon. We're going to kick it off with Kyle Kogan talking fire zone coverage 2 and 3 deep, some cover 0, cover 1 technique stuff, and maybe even a little eyes pressures. Then we're going to go into Nick Rapone talking about, speaking of Tampa Bay, DB coach for the Bucs, talking about developing the complete defensive backs. We're going to have Jim Knowles from Oklahoma, now Ohio State, coming up, so be on the lookout for that. We're launching the offensive podcast. Everything is moving all at once. If you're in Orlando, come visit me March 4th. I'll be speaking at Glacier. Ben, I'm just going to turn the camera to you because I'm sick of looking at my blurry face. What do you got going, my man? You speaking anywhere? You doing anything? What you got going?
You know, as you go through that list of everyone who's been on your podcast, I think you really screwed up when you had me on there.
No, stop.
No, I've been at Colorado State for the last 6 years. We had a coaching change. I was not retained, so I'm currently out of work. Talking to a couple different people, a couple preliminary conversations. But love coming on here at BenR4033 on Twitter. Hit me up. I sell a class on CoachTube, how to use Microsoft Visio to draw a playbook. If you're interested in getting into...
Did you do your homework? Remember, you're supposed to get a short link for me. What's up with that?
You know what? I didn't. I'll get it. I know. Whoops. Well, yeah. Anyway,
get that link to me.
If you're looking to get into college football or NFL or whatever, you've got to know how to draw in Visio. That's going to be one of the first things they try to show you. But if you walk in the door and say, "Look, I can do it. I already know how. Here's some examples of my work," you're going to be way ahead of all the other people who walk into the building and are looking to get involved. So,
and if they don't have Visio, head for Z Hills.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff as always. Thank you for joining me, and I'm looking forward to the next few. Well, we'll have 2 weeks. We'll have 2 weeks in the week between the Super Bowl. I've been working on something. I got agreements. A little plug. Brandon Lechtenberg, who is the new defensive coordinator at Central Oklahoma, one of my best friends, was on the TCU staff that run the Rose Bowl. And then Nate Tice has preliminarily agreed to come on too, who was a backup quarterback on the Wisconsin team. So the three of us are going to do that game.
Wow, that's awesome.
So, yeah, maybe we'll do that. We got to wait until after signing day because Lech just got to this place. And,
yeah. Recruiting is crazy,
football,
man.
Can I rant about college football for 30 seconds?
Let me do it for a minute, having just gotten fired from it. So, like, you're seeing a bunch of college coaches try to get to the NFL because the college recruiting and just season schedule is insane. As soon as you finish the season, you've got signing period, and then you get like 2 weeks off for Christmas and New Year, and then you're straight back into recruiting. And you're gone all week. You're traveling, right? You're going.
And let me interrupt you for a second. If you're really good, you don't get any time off. So,
yeah,
I don't think he'll be upset by me saying this. Mike McDonald is a friend of mine he's the defense coordinator at Michigan.
Yeah,
they were fortunate enough to go to the playoff, and they lost in the first round. I said, "Have you had a break yet?" He said, "We've had there's been no vacate, no break, no vacate, no nothing." So.
Yeah,
that's the problem is if you do well, you get no vacation. So it's like, of course you want to win, no doubt. Anybody that's home around Christmas and college football doesn't want to be home. They want to be, but it also is like, damn it, like Glenn Schumann, the day after the national championship game was back in the office talking recruit. I mean, like, it's tough.
Imagine, like you're going from fall camp opens in real late July, the last couple days of July. And if you're one of those teams, you're going all the way till February, when the second signing period happens. And then even really when that happens, you've got to get right into your own self-scout, right? You're looking at, you're watching your games, you're watching cut-ups, you're watching personnel. You're trying to look at how you were taken advantage of during the season and maybe implementing some new scheme, right? How do we combat what we were getting? Were we deficient in an area schematically? And then all of a sudden you're into spring ball for 5 weeks, and then as soon as that's over, you're back on the road for a whole nother month recruiting for the month of May, and that now in June, there's like summer official visits, and you got camp, and then you get that little break off in the summer, and like there's people who are advocating for like more recruiting in the summer, like official visits in July. And it's like, what in the world are you doing? If you have official visits in July, you will officially have no time off the entire year. You'll just be going around the clock. Like they're in college, they have a real problem in college football because the recruiting, and you have to do it, right? If you want to win, you need players. It's a players game. You got to have players, so you have to recruit. And if you don't, you're going to be in a world of trouble.
I have a hot take. I think having a bunch of QCs is good because you can send your 10 on the field guys off they can go recruit, and then your QCs can be doing the breakdowns and stuff, the self-scout, because otherwise there's not enough time in the day. I talk to these guys.
It's a tough schedule
every day. Like guys call me on the road. The kind of the deal that I have with some of my friends, like Glenn's one, where his deal is he knows I'm a night owl, and so if he's on the road, some nights he's driving back to Athens and it's 12 at night and he's got an hour to go, he'll call me and I'll help keep him awake, and I basically just talk to him to keep and ask him a bunch of questions so he's got to think. I get calls the other day 8 a.m. from Kyle McDonald at USC. I'm like, where are you? He's like, I'm in San Antonio. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, 'cause I thought he was, why the hell you call me at 5:30 in the morning? And then I realized, okay, he can't be out there, but it's insane. But yeah. But like Lek, here's a guy. He wins 10 games at UIW, the most in school history. His head coach gets hired as an OC at Wazoo. Obviously can't take any. I think they took the DC, but couldn't really because he wasn't the head guy. He got hired as position coach, so he can't bring anybody, especially on the other side of the ball. They hire some needle dick from UCF, Gus Malzahn's crumb grabber. Hire him at UIW. He fires the entire defensive staff. Won 10 games. One of the losses was like the Iowa State. Not when Iowa State. It was somebody big. Ronnie Wheat. You know this story. Nevada. I can tell this story now. Nevada. Norvell gets the Colorado State job. I know this one. Norvell doesn't take him. Doesn't take anybody from the defense side, I don't believe. Nope. New guy comes in. I don't want to say it. New guy comes in, doesn't retain him. That's all I'm going to say. 2 all-conference players. First time that Nevada's had all-conference linebackers in a while. He's got 2 of them.
They did have some good linebackers.
Fired.
They did. Yep.
Not retained, whatever the hell you want to call it.
Yep.
Now he gets to have the Baylor. He
same thing.
Didn't get lucky, but ended up getting the safety's job at Baylor, which helped him a little bit prep for. But I couldn't have been happier when he texted me he got the job. I think I woke my girlfriend up because he yelled so loud. But it's a fucking weird profession, man. Great profession.
It is.
Weird business.
It's tough.
You win 10 games, you do everything right, and you get fired. Like,
terrible business.
I mean, how does that happen? And to your point, like I talked to Matt Pease yesterday, a couple days ago. They have 2 weeks off. You know, you ain't getting that in college. You know, I mean, I guess that's not.
Yeah, that's pretty common in the NFL. As soon as your season's done, everybody gets 2 weeks.
Here's the secret in college football. If you're not in a New Year's Day game, you want to play before Christmas. Am I wrong?
Hell yeah, you want to play in the New Mexico Bowl, the very first bowl.
That's what we did.
Give me the first one on December 18th.
You either want to be, it used to be one of the BCS games or one of the big, whatever they call them now. Sugar, orange, whatever, even citrus. I'm like, The only thing about the January 1 games is if you got a cool head coach, they'll travel on the 26th. Or unlike Gary Patterson when he said the guys voted on going to the Rose Bowl on Christmas. I don't know if they actually did that, but okay, whatever. It's a good story. Maybe he's telling the truth. You want to play on New Year's Day because if you leave a week ahead, you can leave Christmas night or Christmas afternoon, so you should get some time with your family. Or you want to play before the 24th.
Yeah,
that's the secret, because then you actually get a vacation.
Yep.
I think the NCAA needs to institute some more dead period
The worst
times.
bowl to play in.
What's that?
The worst bowl to play in is to be the visiting team. The worst bowl to play in is to be the visiting team in the Hawaii Bowl.
Oh God,
they
it's on
play
Christmas,
it's
isn't
either
it?
New Year's Eve or New Year's Day.
Oh.
And then, yeah, I think it's Christmas Day. And then you've got to, as soon as the game's over, you're flying home. And so you're spending like all that time flying home, and sounds miserable.
Well, and as you know, working in the Mountain West, it's not as soon as the game is over, too, because you're having to fly commercial. So when I was at San Jose
we chartered. We charter.
Oh, so we flew commercial. The one year I was at San Jose State and I traveled, we flew commercial. Real fun, quick story, funny story.
Mm.
So we're flying to Hawaii on American at SFO. That's also probably why you chartered, because you could get a direct flight where you couldn't get a direct flight from Denver. But how far is Denver?
We had to stop in Oakland and get gas.
That's weird. Okay, so you weren't deplaning or anything, were you? Okay.
No.
So we take a commercial. We fly commercial, and they blocked it off. They blocked it, but we flew an American flight. So we get in the plane, and we get on. I think they all put us on because we all had a lot of shit. So they they let us get on first, I think, just to get us situated, and then everybody, whatever. So we get on early. I remember getting on the plane early, and they announced over the loudspeaker, today for in-flight entertainment, we're going to have Talladega Nights, the Ballad of Ricky Bobby. And we're all like, yes, fuck yeah, high-fiving and shit. And about 3 minutes later, this very, very, very French family come walking up. And they sit right behind us. And I looked at I was sitting next to one of the kickers. I was like, oh my God. Oh shit. Oh shit. And they're like, what's going on? I'm like, that family is very French. He's like, how can you tell? I'm like, how can I tell? They damn near have a beret, smoking a long one of those Corella DeVille cigarettes. And you could hear them talking. I'm like, they're speaking French. And they're like, okay, what's the problem? I'm like, the whole Talladega Nights movie makes fun of French people. That's all it is. So I'm like, God, I hope they don't get... And of course, this is the time we had to buy the headphones. This is 2006. You still had to buy the headphones, plug them in. So they come around for the headphones. I'm like, please don't buy it. Please don't buy it. We will take 3 headphones, please. I'm like, oh, shit. So the whole movie, I'm like, watching behind. And they sat there like this for 2 hours. This is not funny. I'm like, oh my God. Anyway, random story. They were pissed. Like every few minutes they'd say something in French, just looking pissed. Anyway, all right. I think we're talking about Ricky Bobby now. I think it's time to say goodnight. See you guys next week. Hopefully, we'll be back on Tuesday for Tuesday night football. You would think that's appropriate. We were gonna do Tuesday. What was the game? I think we were gonna do the Niners game.
Yeah,
we're like, hey,
it was going to be Cowboys Niners until the Rams.
And then, like halfway through the game, like after like the third drive, I was like, hey man, I think we're gonna do the Rams.
Yeah.
Although I don't want to hear any West Coast bias shit. We've done 3 NFC West games.
Yeah, we
in
have.
a row. So this would have been like the sicko circle, because we did Cardinals versus
49ers.
the Rams, then we did Niners versus who did we do the Cardinals defense versus? Was that versus the Niners?
Cowboys.
The Cowboys. Never mind. I thought it was one of those where they all beat each other. All right, guys. Come back next week, and in the words of Ricky Bobby, if you ain't first, you're last.
See you guys next week.
See ya.